to rep and various places in New York and in the Midwest. And I do this, and I also work with Vincent Shakespeare.
Well, Henry V by William Shakespeare. Let me get to the top still.
Oh, here's something.
Prologue, enter, chorus.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? May we cram within this wood know the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place 1,000,000, and let us, ciphers to this great account, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined 2 mighty monarchies, whose high, upreared, and abutting fronts the perilous, narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think when we talk of horses that you see them, printing their proud hoofs in the receiving earth. It is your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carrying them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishments of many years into an hourglass. With which supply, admit me, chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Scene 1, enter the bishops of Canterbury and Ely.
My lord, I tell you that self-bill is urged, which in the 11th year of the last king's reign was like, and had indeed against us passed, but that the scrambling and unquiet time did push it out of further question.
But how, my lord, shall we resist it now?
It must be thought on. If it pass against us, we lose the better half of our possession, for all the temporal lands which men devout by testament have given to the church, would they strip from us, being valued thus, as much as would maintain to the king's honour full 15 earls and 1,500 knights, 6,200 good esquires, and to relief of leisures and weak age, of indigent faint souls past corporal toil, and 100,000 almshouses right well supplied, and to the coffers of the king beside 1,000 pounds by the year. Thus runs the bill.
This would drink deep.
'Twould drink the cup and all.
But what prevention?
Well, the king is full of grace and fair regard,
and a true lover of the Holy Church.
The courses of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too. Yea, at that very moment consideration like an angel came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits. Never was such a sudden scholar made. Never came reformation in a flood with such a heady currents scouring faults, nor ever hydra-headed willfulness so soon did lose his seat, and all at once, as in this king.
We are blessed in the change.
But hear him but reason in divinity, and all admiring with an inward wish, you would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs, you would say it hath been all in holy study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear a fearful battle rendered you in music. Turn him to any cause of policy, the Gordian knot of it he will unloose, familiar as his garter, that, when he speaks, the air, a chartered libertine, is still, and the mute wonder lurketh in men's ears to steal his sweet and honeyed sentences, so that the art and practice part of life must be the mistress to this rhetoric, which is a wonder how his grace should glean it, since his addiction was to courses vain, his companies unlettered, rude and shallow, his hours filled up with riots, banquets, sports. I never noted in him any study, any retirement, any sequestration from open haunts and popularity.
The strawberry grows underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries thrive and ripen best, neighbored by fruit of baser quality. And so the prince obscured his contemplation under the veil of wildness, which no doubt grew like the summer grass, fasted by night, unseen, yet oppressive in his faculty.
Well, it must be so, for miracles are ceased, and therefore we must needs admit the means how things are perfected.
But, my good lord, how now for mitigation of this bill urged by the commons? Doth his majesty incline to it, or no?
He seems indifferent, or rather swaying more upon art than cherishing the exhibitors against us. For I have made an offer to his majesty upon our spiritual convocation, and in regard of causes now in hand, which I have opened to his grace at large, as touching France, to give a greater sum than ever at one time the clergy yet did to his predecessors part withal.
How did this offer seem received, my lord?
Oh, with good acceptance of his majesty, save that there was not time enough to hear, as I perceived his grace would fain have done, the several and unbidden passages of his true titles to some certain dukedoms, and generally to the crown and seat of France, derived from Edward, his great-grandfather.
What was the impediment that broke this off?
The French ambassador, upon that instant, craved audience, and the hour, I think, has come to give him hearing. It is 4 o'clock.
It is.
Then go we in to know his embassy, which I could with a ready guess declare before the Frenchmen speak a word of it.
I'll wait upon you, and I long to hear it.
They exit scene 2. Enter King of England Humphrey, Duke of Gloucester, Bedford, Clarence, Warwick, Westmoreland, and Exeter with attendants. Where is my gracious Lord of Canterbury?
Not here in presence.
Send for him, good uncle.
Shall we call in the ambassador, my liege?
Not yet, my cousin. We would be resolved, before we hear him, of some things of weight, that task our thoughts concerning us and France. Enter 2 bishops, Canterbury and Ely.
God and his angels guard your sacred throne, and may you make you long become it.
Sure, we thank you. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed, and to justify and to religiously unfold why the law Salic that they have in France, or should not, bar us in our claim. And God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion, rest, or bow your reading, or nicely charge your misunderstanding soul with opening titles, miscreants whose rights suits not in sure colors with the truth. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation for what your reverence shall incite to us. Therefore take heed now, you impawn our person, how you awake our sleeping sword of war. We charge you in the name of God, take heed, for never 2 such kingdoms did contend without much fall of blood, whose guiltless drops are every one a woe, a sore complaint against him who wrongs gives edge unto the swords, that makes such waste in brief morality. Under this conjuration speak, my lord, for we will here note and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience washed as pure as sin with baptism.
Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers that owe yourselves your lives and services to this imperial throne. There is no bar to make against your highness claim to France, but this, which they produce from Pharamond. Interam salicam mulieres ne succendat. No woman shall succeed in Salic land, which Salic land the French unjustly gloze to be the realm of France and Pharamond, the founder of this law and female bar. And yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land Salic is in Germany, between the floods of Saia and the Elbe, where Charles the Great, having subdued the Saxons, there left behind and settled certain French who, holding in disdain the German women for some dishonest matters of their life, established then this law, to wit, no female should be inheritrix in Salic land, which Salic, as I said, twixt Elbe and Saia, is at this day in Germany called Meissen. Then doth it well appear the Salic law was not devised for the realm of France, nor did the French possess the Salic land until 421 years after defunction of King Pharamond. Idly supposed the founder of this law, who died within the year of our redemption 426, and Charles the Great subdued the Saxons and did seek the French beyond the river Saia in the year 805. Besides, their writers say King Pepin, which deposed Kilderic, did as their general, being descended of Blithild, who was the daughter to King Clothair, make claim and title to the crown of France. Hugh Capet also, who usurped the crown of Charles, the Duke of Lorraine, sole heir of the true line and stock of Charles the Great, to find his title with some shows of truth, though in poor truth it was corrupt and naught, conveyed himself as the heir to the Lady Lingaire, daughter to Charlemagne, who was the son to Louis the Emperor and Louis the son of Charles the Great. Also, King Louis X, who was sole heir to the usurper Capet, could not keep quiet in his conscience, wearing the crown of France, till satisfied that fair Queen Isabel, his grandmother, was lineal of the Lady Ermengarde, daughter to Charles the aforesaid Duke of Lorraine, by the which marriage the line of Charles the Great was reunited to the crown of France, so that, as clear as is the summer's sun, King Pepin's title and Hugh Capet's claim, King Louis his satisfaction will appear to hold his right and title of the female. So do the kings of France unto this day. Howbeit they would hold up this Salic law to bar your highness claiming from the female, and rather choose to hide them in a net than amply to embar their crooked titles usurped from you and your progenitors.
May I with right and conscience make this claim?
No, sit upon my head, dread sovereign, for in the book of Numbers it is writ, when the man dies, let the inheritance descend unto the daughter. Gracious Lord, stand for your own. Unwind your bloody flag. Look back into your mighty ancestors. Go, my dread lord, to your great-grandsire's tomb, from whom you claim invoke his warlike spirit, and your great-uncles, Edward the Black Prince, who on the French ground played a tragedy, making defeat on the full power of France, whilst his most mighty father on the whole stood smiling to behold his lion's whelp forage in blood of French nobility. Oh, noble English that could entertain with half their forces the full pride of France, and let another half stand laughing by, all out of work and cold for action.
Awake remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your poisoned arm re-wither their feats, renew their feats. You are their heir, you sit upon their throne. Blood and courage that renowned them runs in your veins, and my thrice puissant liege is in that very May morn of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises.
Your brother kings and monarchs of the earth do all expect you should rouse yourself, as did the former lions of your blood.
They know your grace hath cause and means and might, so hath your highness. Never king of England had nobles richer and more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England, and lie pavilion in the fields of France.
Oh, let their bodies follow, my dear liege, with blood and sword and fire to win your right, in aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never did the clergy at one time bring to any of your ancestors.
Must not only armed invade the French, but lay down our propositions to defend against the Scots, who will make road upon us with all advantages.
They of those marches, gracious sovereign, shall be a wall sufficient to defend our inland from the pilfering borderers.
We do not mean the cursing snatchers only, but fear the main intendment of the Scot, who hath been still a giddy neighbor to us. For you shall read that my great-grandfather never went with his forces into France, but that the Scot on his unfurnished kingdom came pouring like the tide into a breach with ample and brim fullness of his force, galling the gleaned land with hot assays, girding with grievous siege castles and towns, that England, being empty of defence, hath shook and trembled at the ill neighbourhood.
She has been then more feared than harmed, my liege, for here but exampled by herself, when all her chivalry hath been in France, and she, a mourning widow of her nobles, she hath herself not only well defended, but taken and debounded as a stray the King of Scots, whom she did send to France to fill King Edward's fame with prisoner kings, and make her chronicle as rich with praise as is the bottom of the sea, with sunken wrack and sumless treasures.
Eli? Mark? Bowen?
Oh, sorry,
But-
I didn't have that ready.
But there's a
But
say.
it's saying very old and true. If that you will France win, then with Scotland first begin. For once the eagle, England, being in prey to her unguarded nest, the weasel, Scot, comes sneaking, and so sucks her princely eggs, playing the mouse in absence of the cat, to tame and havoc more than she can eat.
Follows then that the cat must stay at home. Yet that is but a crush necessity, since we have locks to safeguard necessities and pretty traps to catch the petty thieves. While that the armed hand doth fight abroad, the advised head defends itself at home, for governments, though high and lower put into parts, doth keep in one constant, congreeing in full and natural close, like music.
Therefore doth heaven divide the state of man in diverse functions, setting endeavour in continual motion, to which is fixed as an aim or but obedience. For so work the honeybees, creatures that by a rule in nature teach the act of order to a peopled kingdom. They have a king and officers of sorts, where some like magistrates correct at home, others like merchants venture trade abroad. Others, like soldiers, armoured in their slings, make boot upon the summer's velvet buds, which pillage they with merry march bring home to the tent royal of their emperor, who, busied in his majesty, surveys the singing masons building roofs of gold, the civil citizens kneading up the honey, the poor mechanic porters crowding in their heavy burdens at his narrow gate, the sad-eyed justice with his surly hum delivering ore to executors pale, the lazy yawning drone. I this infer that many things, having full reference to one consent, may work contrariously, as many arrows lucid several ways come to one mark, as many ways meet in one town, as many fresh streams meet in one salt sea, as many lines close in the dial's centre, so may 1,000 actions, once afoot, end in one purpose, and be all well borne without defeat. Therefore to France, my liege, divide your happy England into four, whereof take you one quarter into France, and you withal shall make all Gallia shake. If we, with thrice such powers left at home, cannot defend our own doors from the dog, let us be worried, and our nation lose the name of hardiness and policy.
Call in the messenger sent from Dauphine. Now, we well resolved by our God's help, and yours the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, will bend it to our awe, or break it all to pieces, or there will sit, ruling in large and ample empery over France and all her almost kingly dukedoms, or lay these bones in an unworthy urn, tombless, with no remembrance over them. Either our history shall with full mouth speak freely of our acts, or else our grave, like Turkish mute, shall have a tongueless mouth, not worshipped with a waxen epitaph. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphine, or for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king.
May it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge, or shall we sparingly show you far off the Dauphin's meaning and our embassy?
We are no tyrants, but a Christian king, unto whose grace our passion is as subject, as is our wretches fettered in our prisons. Therefore, with frank and uncurbed plainness, tell us the Dauphine's mind.
Thus then, in few, your highness, largely sending into France, did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III. In answer of which claim, the prince our master says that you shall savor too much of your youth, and bids you be advised there's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you, meeter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this, desires you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This the Dauphine speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls, my liege.
We are glad the Dauphine is so pleasant with us. His presence and your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will in France, by God's grace, play a sets, shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler. Thus all the courts of France will be disturbed with chases, and we understand him well, how he comes over us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seat in England, and therefore, living hence, did give ourself the barbarous license, as 'tis ever common, that men are merriest when they are from home. But tell the Dauphine, I will keep my state, be like a king, and show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in my throne of France, for that I have laid by my majesty, and plodded like a man for working days. But I will rise there with so full of glory that I will dazzle all the eyes of France, yea, strike the Dauphine blind to look on us, and tell the pleasant prince this mock of his, that hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sore charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly in them. For many a thousand widows shall his mock out of their dear husbands. Mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down, and some are yet ungotten and unborn, that shall have cause to curse the Dauphine's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you, the Dauphine, I am coming on to avenge me, as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the Dauphine, his jest will savor but of shallow wits, with thousands, when thousands weep more, then did laugh at it, convey them with safe conduct. Fare you well. best for excellence.
This was a merry message.
We hoped to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, omit no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition. For we have now no thoughts in us but France, save those to God that run before our business. Therefore, let our proportions for these wars be soon collected, and all things thought upon that may with reasonable swiftness add more feathers to our wings. For God before will chide this Dauphin at his father's door. Therefore, let every man now task his thought, that this fair action may be on foot, be brought. Act 2, enter chorus.
Now
sorry. Act 2, enter chorus, sorry.
Now all the youth of England are on fire. Silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now thrive the armorers, and honor's thought reigns solely in the breast of every man. They sell the pasture now to buy the horse, following the mirror of all Christian kings with winged heels, as English Mercury's, for now sits expectation in the air, and hides a sword from hilts unto the point, with crowns imperial, crowns and coronets promised to Harry and his followers. The French, advised by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear, and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. O England, model to thy inward greatness, like little body with a mighty heart, what mightst thou do that honor would thee do? Were all the children kind and natural? But see thy fault, France, hath in thee found out a nest of hollow bosoms, which he fills with treacherous crowns, and 3 corrupted men. One, Richard, Earl of Cambridge, and the second, Henry, Lord Scroop of Masham, and the third, Sir Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland, have, for the guilt of France, oh guilt indeed, confirmed conspiracy with fearful France. By their hands this grace of kings must die. If hell and treason hold their promise, ere he take ship for France, and in Southampton linger your patience on, and will digest the abuse of distance, force a play. The sum is paid, the traitors are agreed, the king is set from London, and the scene is now transported, gentles, to Southampton. There is the playhouse now, there must you sit, and thence unto France shall we convey you safe, bring you back, charming the narrow seas to give you gentle pass, for if we may, we'll not offend one's stomach with our play. But till the king come forth, and not till then unto Southampton do we shift our scene.
Scene 1, enter Corporal Nym and Lieutenant Bardolph.
Well met, Corporal Nym.
Good morrow, Lieutenant Bardolph.
What, are ancient Pistol and you friends yet?
For my part, I care not. I say little, but when time shall serve, there shall be smiles. But that shall be as it may. I dare not fight, but I will wink and hold out mine iron. It's a simple one, but what though? It'll toast cheese and will endure cold as another man's sword will, and there's an end.
I will bestow a breakfast to make you friends, and we'll be all 3 sworn brothers to France. Let it be so, good Corporal Nym.
Faith, I will live so long as I may, that's the certain of it. And when I cannot live any longer, I will do as I may. That is my rest. That is the rendezvous of it.
It is certain, Corporal, that he is married to Nell quickly, and certainly she did you wrong, for you were troth plight to her.
I cannot tell. Things must be as they may. Men may sleep, and they may have their throats about them at that time, and some say knives have edges. It must be as it may. Though Patience be a tired mare, yet she will plod. There must be conclusions. Well, I cannot tell.
Here comes Ancient Pistol and his wife, good Corporal. Be patient here. And how now, mine host Pistol?
Base tyke, call'st thou me host? Now by this hand I swear, I scorn the term, nor shall my knell keep lodgers.
Oh, by my troth, not long, for we cannot lodge and board a dozen or 14 gentlemen that live honestly by the of their needles. For it will be thought we keep a bawdy house straight. Well a day, lady, if he be not drawn now, we shall see whipful adultery and murder committed.
Good lieutenant, good corporal, offer nothing here.
Hish for thee, Iceland dog, thou prick-eared cur of Iceland.
Good Corporal Ning, show thy valor and up your sword.
Will you shog off? I would have you soulless.
Soulless, egregious dog. Oh, viper vile, the soulless in thy most marvelous face, the soulless in thy teeth and in thy throat, in thy hateful lungs, yea, in thy maw, Purdy, and which is worse, within thy nasty mouth. I to retort the soulless in thy bowels, for I can take, and pistol's cock is up, and flashing fire will follow.
I am not Barberson, you cannot conjure me. I have an humour to knock you indifferently well. If you go foul with me, Pistol, I will scour you with my rapier, as I may in fair terms. If you would walk off, I would prick your guts in a little in good terms, as I may, and that's the humour of it.
Oh, braggart vile and damned furious wight, the grave doth gape and doting death is near, therefore exhale.
Hear me what I say. He that strikes the first stroke, I'll run him up the hilts as I am a soldier.
And of mickle might and fury shall abate. Give me thy fist, thy forefoot to me give. Thy spirits are most tall.
I will cut thy throat one time or other in fair terms, and that's the humour of it.
Player gorge, that is the word. I defy thee again. O hound of Crete, thinkst thou my spouse to get? No, to the spittle go, and from the powdering tub of infamy fetch forth the lazar kite of Cressid's kind, dull tear-sheet she by name, and her a spouse. I have, and I will hold the quondam quickly for the only she, and harka, there's enough too. Go to.
And to the boy.
Mine host Pistol, you must come to my master and your hostess. He is very sick and would to bed. Good Baldulf, put thy face between his shears and do the office of a warming pan. Faith, he is very ill.
Away, you rogue!
By my troth, you'll yield the crow a pudding one of these days. The king hath killed his heart. Good husband.
He exits with the boy.
Shall I make you two friends? We must to France together. Why the devil should we keep knives to cut one another's throats?
Bloods o'er swell and fiends for food howl on.
You'll pay me the 8 shillings I won of you at betting.
Base is the slave that pays.
That now I will have. That's the humour of it.
As manhood shall compound, push ho.
By his sword, he that makes the first thrust, I'll kill him. By the sword I will.
Sword is an oath, and oaths must have their course.
Corporal Nim, as thou wilt be friends, and thou wilt not, why then, be enemies with me too. Prithee, put up!
A noble shalt thou have, and present past, and present pay, and liquor likewise will I give to thee, and friendship shall combine, and brotherhood. I'll live by Nim, and Nim shall live by me. Is not this just? For I shall sutler be unto the camp, and profits will accrue. Give me thy hand.
I shall have my noble.
In cash, most justly paid.
Well, then, that's the humour of it.
Nymph and Bardolph sheath their swords, enter hostess.
Was ever you came of women coming quickly to Sir John, my poor heart. He is so shaken of a burning Tertanian that it is most lamentable to behold. Sweet men, come to him.
Well, the king has run bad humours on the night. That's the even of it.
Nim, thou hast spoke the right. His heart is fracted and corroborate.
Well, the king is a good king, but it must be as it may. He passes some humours and careers.
Let us condole the night. For lambkins, we will live.
They exit scene 2. Enter Exeter, Bedford, and Westmoreland.
For God, his grace is bold to trust these traitors.
They shall be apprehended by and by.
How smooth and even they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosoms sat, crowned with faith and constant loyalty.
The king hath note of all that they intend by interception which they dream not of.
Nay, but the man that was his bedfellow, whom he duped, hath dulled and cloyed with gracious favours, that he should for a foreign purse so sell his sovereign's life to death and treachery.
Sound trumpets, enter the King of England's group, Cambridge and Grey with attendants. Now sits the wind fair, and we will aboard. My lord of Cambridge, and my kind lord of Mashan, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with us will cut their passage through the force of France, doing the execution and the act for which we have in head assembled them?
No doubt, my liege, if each man do his best.
I doubt not that, since we are well persuaded, we carry not a heart with us from hence, that grows not in a fair consent with ours, nor leave nor behind that doth not wish success and conquest to attend on us.
Never was monarch better feared and loved than is your majesty. There's not, I think, a subject that sits in heart grief and uneasiness under the sweet shade of your government.
Those that were your father's enemies have steeped their gals in honey and do serve you with hearts creative duty and a zeal.
We therefore have great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the office of our hands sooner than quittance of desert and merit, according to the weight and worthiness.
So service shall with steeled sinews toil, and labor shall refresh itself with hope, to do your grace incessant service, saith.
We judge no less, uncle of Exeter, enlarge the man committed yesterday that railed against our person. We consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on this more advice we pardon him.
That's mercy, but too much security. Let him be punished, sovereign, lest example breed by his sufferance more of such a kind.
Oh, let us yet be merciful.
So may your highness, and yet punish too.
Sir, you show great mercy if you give him life after the taste of much correction.
Alas, your too much love and care of me are heavy orisons against the poor wretch. If little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye? When capital crimes, chewed, swallowed, and digested, appear before us, will yet enlarge that man. Though Cambridge, Scroop, and Grey, in their dear care and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. And now to our French causes. Who are the late commissioners?
I one, my lord. Your highness bade me ask for it today.
The Scroop?
Yes.
So did you mean, my liege?
And I, my royal sovereign.
Then Richard, Earl of Cambridge, there is yours. They're yours, Lord Scroop of Mashen and Sir Knight. Grey of Northumberland, this same is yours. Read them, and I know your worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland and Uncle Exeter, we will aboard tonight. Why, how now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers, that you lose so much complexion? Look you how they change. Their cheeks are paper. Why, what read you there that have so cowarded and chased your blood out of appearance?
I do confess my fault, and do submit me to your highness's mercy.
To which we all appeal.
The mercy that was quick in us but late, by your own counsel is suppressed and killed. You must not dare for shame to talk of mercy, for your own reasons turn into your bosoms, as dogs upon the masters worrying you. See you, my princes and my noble peers, these English monsters, my Lord of Cambridge here. You know how apt our love was to accord, to furnish him with all appurtenance belonging to his honor, and this man hath, for a few light crowns, lightly conspired and sworn unto the practices of France to kill us here in Hampton, to the which this knight, no less for bounty bound to us than Cambridge is, hath likewise sworn. But oh, what shall I say to thee, Lord Scroop, thou cruel, ingrateful, savage, and inhuman creature, thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, that knewest the very bottom of my soul, that almost mightest have coined me into gold, wouldst thou have practiced on me for thy use? May it be possible that foreign hire could out of thee extract one spark of evil that might annoy my finger? 'Tis so strange that, though the truth of it stands off as gross, as black and white, my eye would scarcely see it. Treason and murder, ever kept together, as two yoke devils sworn to either's purpose, working so grossly in a natural cause that admiration did not whoop at them, but thou, against all proportions, didst bring in wonder to wait on treason and on murder, and whatever cunning fiend it was that wrought upon thee so preposterously hath got the voice in hell for excellence. All of the devils that suggested by treasons do botch and bungle up damnation with patches, colors, and with forms of being fetched from glistering semblance of piety. But he that tempered thee blade, thee stand up, give thee no instance why thou shouldst do treason, unless to dub thee with the name of traitor. If that same demon hath gulled thee thus, should with his lion's gait walk the whole world, he might return to vastly Tartar back and tell the legions, I can never win a soul as easy as that Englishman's. Oh, how hast thou with jealousy infected the sweetness of affluence, should men dutiful? Why, so didst thou seem they grave and learned? Why, so didst thou come, they of noble family? Why, so didst thou seem they religious? Why, so didst thou, or they spare in diet? Free from gross passion, or of mirth or anger, constant in spirit, not swerving with the blood, garnished and decked in modest compliment, not working with the eye, without the ear, or but in purged judgment, trusting neither. Such, and so finely blotted didst thou seem, and thus thy fall hath left a kind of blot, to mark the full fraught man and best endured. With some suspicion I will weep for thee, for this revolt of thine, methinks, is like another fall of man. Their faults are open. Arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices.
I arrest thee for high treason by the name of Richard, Earl of Cambridge. I arrest thee for high treason by the name of Henry, Lord Scroop of Masham. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland.
Our purposes God justly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my death, which I beseech your highness to forgive, although my body paid the price of it.
To me, the gold of France did not seduce, although I did admit it as a motive the sooner to effect what I intended. But God be thanked for prevention, which I in sufferance heartily will rejoice, beseeching God in you to pardon me.
Should faithful subject more rejoice at the discovery of most dangerous treason than I do at this hour joy o'er myself, prevented from a damned enterprise. My fault, but not my body pardon, sovereign.
God quit you in his mercy. Hear your sentence. You have conspired against a royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and his peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Touching our person, seek we no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you have sought, that to her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death. The taste whereof God and of his mercy give you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offenses. Bear them hence. Now, lords of France, the enterprise whereof shall be to you and us like glorious. We doubt not of a fair and lucky war, since God so graciously hath brought to light this dangerous treason lurking in our way to hinder our beginnings. We doubt not now, but every rub is smoothed on our way. Then forth, dear countrymen, let us deliver our pursuance into the hand of God, putting it straight in expedition, cheerily to sea. The signs of war advance. No king of England, if not king of France. Flourish they exit. Scene 3, enter Pistol, Bardolph, boy, and hostess.
Pray thee, my sweet husband, let me bring thee to Staines.
No, for my manly heart doth earn. Bardolph, be blithe, and rouse thy vaunting veins. Boy, bristle thy courage up. For Falstaff, he is dead, and we must earn therefore.
Would I were with him, wheresoe'er he is, either in heaven or in hell.
Are you sure he's not in hell? He's in Arthur's bosom, if ever man went to Arthur's bosom. Made a finer end and went away to it, and in any Christian child, aparted even just before 12 and 1, even at the turning of the tide. For after I saw him fumble with the sheets and play with flowers, smile upon his fingers, and I knew there was but one way, for his nose was as sharp as a pin, and a babbled of green fields. How now, Sir John, quoth I, what ban? Be of good cheer. So I cried out, God, 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 3 or 4 times. Now I, to comfort him, bid him I should not think of God. I hoped there was no need to trouble himself with any such thought yet. So he bade me lay there more close on his feet. I put my hand unto his bed and felt them, and they were as cold as any stone. Then I fell to his knees, and they were as cold as any stone. And so upward, and all was as cold as any stone.
I say he cried out of sack.
Aye, that he did.
And of women.
Nay, I did not.
Yes, that he did, and said they were devils incarnate.
They could never abide carnation. It was a color he never liked.
He said once the devil would have him about women.
He did, in some sort, indeed, handle women, but then he was romantic and talked of the whore of Babylon.
Do you not remember he saw a flea stick upon Baldolph's nose, and he said it was a black soul burning in hell?
Well, the fuel is gone that maintained that fire. That's all the riches I got in his service.
Shall we shog? The king will be gone from Southampton.
Come, let's away. My love, give me thy lips. Look to my chattels and my movables. Let senses rule. The word is pitch and pay. Trust none. For oaths are straws, men's faiths are wafer cakes, and holdfast is the only dog, my duck. Therefore, Cavetto, be thy counselor. Go clear thy crystals. Yoke fellows in arms, let us to France. Like horse leeches, my boys, to suck, the very blood to suck.
And that's but unwholesome food, they say.
Touch her soft mouth and march.
Farewell, hostess.
I cannot hiss. That is the humour of it. But adieu.
Let huswife reappear. Keep close, I thee command.
Farewell. Adieu.
They exit. Scene 4. Flourish. Enter the French king, the Dauphin, the Dukes of Berry and Brittany, the Constable, and others.
Thus comes the English with full power upon us, and more than carefully it us concerns to answer royally in our defences. Therefore, the Dukes of Berry and of Breton, of Brabant and of Orleans, shall make forth, and you, Prince Dauphin, with all Swiss dispatch to line, and new repair our towns of war with men of courage, and with means defended. For England, his approaches makes as fierce as waters to the suckling of a gulf. It fits us then to be as provident as fear may teach us out of late examples left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields.
My most redoubted father, it is most meet we arm us against the foe, for peace itself should not so dull a kingdom, though war no known quarrel were in question, but that defenses, musters, preparations should be maintained, assembled, and collected, as were a war in expectation. Therefore I say, 'tis meet we all go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France. Let us do it with no show of fear. No more than if we had heard that England were busied with a Whitsun Morris dance. For my good liege, it is so idly kinged, her sceptre so fantastically borne by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorless youth, that fear attends her not. Constable, how say you?
Missy?
Yep. Okay.
Missy,
Yes, I'm here. Yes. Peace, Prince Dauphin. You are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace the late ambassadors with what great state he heard their embassy, how well supplied with noble counsellors, how modest in exception, and withal how terrible in constant resolution. And you shall find his vanities forspent were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, covering discretion with a coat of folly, as gardeners do, with ondor hide those roots that shall first spring and be most delicate.
Well, 'tis not so, my lord High Constable. But though we think it so, it is no matter. In cases of defense, 'tis best to weigh the enemy more mightily than he seems, so the proportions of defense are filled, which of a weak and niggardly projection doth like a miser spoil his coat with scanting a little cloth.
Think we King Henry strong? And princes, look you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed upon us, and he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar past. Witness our too much memorable shame when Crecy battle fatally was struck, and all the princes captive by the hand of that black named Edward, Black Prince of Wales, whilst that his mountain sire on mountain standing up in the air, crowned with the golden sun, saw his heroical seed, and smiled to see him mangle the work of nature and deface the patterns that by God and by French fathers had 20 years been made. This is a stern of that victorious stock, and let us fear the native mightiness and fate of him.
Enter messenger.
Ambassadors from Harry, King of England, do crave admittance to your majesty.
We'll give them present audience. Go and bring them. You see this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Turn head and stop pursuit. For coward dogs most spend their mouths to that which they seem to threaten. Runs far before them. Good my sovereign, take up the English short, and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting.
Enter Exeter with lords and attendants.
From our brother of England.
From him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you in the name of God Almighty, God, divest yourself and lay apart the borrowed glories that by all gift of heaven, by law of nature and of nations, belongs to him that is to his heirs, namely the crown, and all wide-stretched honours that pertain by custom and ordinance of times unto the crown of France. That you may know 'tis no sinister nor awkward claim picked from the wormholes of long-vanished days, nor from the dust of old oblivion raked, he sends you this most memorable line. In every branch, truly demonstrative, willing you overtake this pedigree, and when you find him evilly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him the native and true challenger.
Or else what follows?
Bloody constraints. For if you hide the crown, even in your hearts, there will he rake for it. Therefore, in fierce tempest is he coming, in thunder and in earthquake, like a Jove, that if requiring fail, he will compel and bids you, in the bowels of the Lord, deliver up the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls for whom this hungry war opens its vasty jaws, and on your head, turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, the pining maiden's groans for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers, that shall be swallowed in this controversy, that if his claim is threatening and my message, unless the Dauphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I bring greetings too.
For us, we will consider this further. Tomorrow you shall hear our full intent. Back to our brother of England.
For the Dauphin, I stand here for him. What to him from England?
Scorn, defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that may not misbecome the mighty Scowler doth he prize you at. Thus says my king. And if your father's highness do not in grant of all demands at large sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you to so hot an anger of it, the caves and woomy voltages of France shall chide your trespass and return your mock in second accent of his ordinance.
Say if my father render fair return. It is against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England. To that end, as matching to his youth and vanity, I did present him with the Paris balls.
He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it when of the mistress court of mighty Europe, and be assured you'll find a difference as we, his subjects, have in wonder found, between the promise of his greener days and those he musters now. Now he weighs time, even to the utmost grain, that you shall read in your own losses if he stay in France.
Tomorrow you shall know our mind at full.
Dispatch us with full speed, lest our king come here himself to question your delay, for he is footed in this land already.
You shall be soon dispatched with fair conditions. A night is but small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence.
Flourish. They exit. Act 3, enter chorus.
Thus, with imagined wing our swift scene flies, in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king at Dover Pier embark his royalty, and his brave fleet with silken streamers the young Phoebus fanning. Play with your fancies, and in them behold upon the hempen tackle ship-boys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle which doth order give to sounds confused. Behold the threatened sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed sea, breasting the lofty surge. Oh, do but think you stand upon the rivage and behold a city on the inconstant billows dancing, for so appears this fleet majestical, holding due course to Harfleur. Follow, follow, grapple your minds to sternage of this navy, and leave your England as dead midnight still, guarded with old grandsires, babies, and old women, either past nor not arrived to pith and puissance. For who is he whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair that will not follow these culled and choice-drawn cavaliers? To France! Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Harfleur. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him Catherine, his daughter, and with her to dowry some petty and unprofitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the devilish cannon touches, and down goes it all before them. Still be kind, and eke out our performance with your mind.
Exits. Act 1, enter King of England, Exeter, Bedford, and Gloucester. Alarm. Soldiers scaling ladders for our flute. Once more into the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with our English dead in peace. There's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect, let it pry through the portage of the head. And like the brass cannon, let the brow o'erwhelm it as fearfully as doth a gulled rock. Overhang and jutty the confounded base, swelled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath, and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, you nobles English, whose blood is fed from fathers of war-proof, fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even even fought, and scathed, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you, be copy now of men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeoman, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the metal of your pastor. Let us swear that you were worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble luster in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the ship slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Henry, England, and St. George! Exit. Scene 2. Enter Nymph, Bardolph, Pistol, and Boy.
On, to the breach, to the breach!
Pray thee, corporal, stay. The knocks are too hot, and for mine own part I have not a case for lives. The humour of it is too hot, and this is the very plain song of it.
The plain song is the most just, for humours do abound. Knocks go and come. God's vassals drop and die, and sword and shield and bloody field doth win the mortal flame.
Would I were in an alehouse in London, I would give all my fame for a pot of ale and safety.
And I, if wishes would prevail with me, my purpose should not fail with me, but thither would I hide.
As surely, but not as truly, as birds doth sing on bough.
Up to the breach, ye dogs! Avaunt, ye currions!
Be merciful, great Duke, to men of mould. Abate thy rage, abate thy manly rage, abate thy rage, great Duke. Good Barcock, bate thy rage, use lenity, sweet Chuck.
These be good humours. Your honour wins bad humours.
Young as I am, I have observed these 3 swashers. I am boy to them all 3, but they all 3, though they would serve me, could not be man to me. For indeed 3 such antics do not amount to a man. For Bardolph, he is white-livered and red-faced, by the means whereof he faces it out, but fights not. The pistol, he hath a killing tongue and a quiet sword, by the means whereof he breaks words and keeps whole weapons. Benim, he hath heard that men of few words are the best men, and therefore he scorns to say his prayers, lest he should be thought a coward, but his few bad words are matched with as few good deeds. For he never broke any man's head but his own, and that was against a post when he was drunk. They will steal anything and call it purchase. Bardolph stole a lure case, bore it 12 leagues, and sold it for 3 halfpence. Nym and Bardolph are sworn brothers in filching, and in Calais they stole a fire shovel. I knew by that piece of service the men would carry coals. They would have me as familiar with men's pockets as much against my manhood, if I should take them from another's pocket and put into mine, for it is plain pocketing up are wrongs. I must leave them and seek some better service. Their villainy goes against my weak stomach, and therefore I must cast it up.
Exit Center Fluellen and Gower. Brandon?
Oh, okay. Captain Llewellyn, you must come presently to the mines. The Duke of Gloucester would speak with you.
To the mines? Tell you the Duke, it is not so good to come to the mines. For look you, the mines is not according to the disciplines of the war. The concavities of it is not sufficient. For look you, the adversary, you may discuss unto the Duke. Look you, has digged himself in 4 yard under the countermines. By Jesu, I think I will push up all, if there is not better directions.
The Duke of Gloucester, to whom the order of the siege is given, is altogether directed by an Irishman. Very valiant gentleman in faith.
It is Captain McMurris, is it not?
I think it be.
By Jesu, he is an ass, as in the world. I will verify as much in his beard. He has no more directions in the true disciplines of the wars, look you, of the Roman disciples than is a puppy dog.
Enter Captain McMorris and Captain Jamie.
There he comes, and the Scots captain, Captain Jamie, with him.
Captain Jamie is a marvelous, valorous gentleman, that is certain, and that the great expedition and knowledge of the ancient wars upon my particular knowledge of his directions, by Jesu, he will maintain his argument as well as any military man in the world, in the disciples of the pristine wars of the Romans.
I say good day, Captain Llewellyn.
Good end to your worship, good Captain James.
Captain McMorris, have you quick minds? Have the pioneers given or?
Aye, Christ, lad, 'tis ill done. The work is give over. The trumpet sound the retreat. By my hand I swear my father's soul, the work is ill done. It is give over. I would have blowed up the town, so Christ save me, lad, an hour. Oh, 'tis ill done, 'tis ill done by my hand, 'tis ill done.
Captain McMorris, I beseech you now, or will you vouchsafe me, look you, a few disputations with you, as partly touching or concerning the disciplines of the war, the Romans' wars, in the way of argument, look you, and friendly communication, partly to satisfy my opinion, and partly for the satisfaction, look you, of my mind, as touching the direction of the military discipline. That is the point.
It shall be very good, good faith, good Captain's Bath, and I shall quit you with my good love as you may take occasion. That's it, I marry.
'Tis no time to discourse, so Christ save me. The day is hot and the weather and the wars and the king and the dukes. It's no time to discourse. The town is besieged, and the trumpet calls us to the breach, and we talk and be Christ do nothing to shame for us all. So God save me, 'tis shame to stand still, it is shame by my hand, and there is throats to be cut and works to be done, there is nothing else, so Christ save me, la.
By the mercy of these eyes of mine, take themselves to slumber, I'll do good service, and I'll dig the ground for it. I'll go to death, and I'll pay it as valorously as I may, that shall I surely do, that is the breath and the law. Marry, I would fall faint hear some question between you twain.
Captain McMorris, I think you under your correction, there is not many of your nation.
Of my nation? What is my nation? It's a villain and a bastard and a knave and a rascal. What is my nation? Who talks of my nation?
Look you, if you take the matter otherwise than is meant, Captain McMorris, peradventure I shall think you do not use me with that affability as in discretion you ought to use me. Look you, being as a good man as yourself, both in the disciplines of war and in the derivation of my birth, and in other particularities.
I do not know you so good a man as myself, so Christ save me, I will cut off your head.
Gentlemen, both you will mistake each other.
That's a foul fault.
The town sounds a party.
Captain McMorris, when there is much better opportunity to be required, look you, I will be so bold as to tell you, I know the disciplines of war, and there is an end.
They exit. Scene 3, enter King of England and all his train before the gates. How yet resolves the governor of the town. This is the latest parley, we will admit. Therefore, to our best mercy give yourselves, or like to men proud of destruction, defy us to our worst. For, as I am a soldier, a name that in my thoughts becomes me best. If I begin the battery once again, I will not leave half achieved Harfleur, till in her ashes she lie buried. The gates of mercy shall be all shut up, and the fleshed soldier, rough and hard of heart, in liberty of bloody hand shall range with conscience wide as hell, mowing like grass. your flesh, fair virgins, and your flowering infants. What it is then to me. Yeah, if impious war arrayed in flames, like to the prince of fiends, do with his smirched complexion, all fell feats, and linked to waste and desolation. What is to me when you yourselves are cause, if your pure maidens fall into the hand of hot and forcing violation, when rain can hold licentious wickedness, when down the hill he holds his fierce career, we may as bootless spend our vain command upon the enraged soldiers in their peril, as spent precept to the Leviathan, to come ashore. Therefore, you men of Harfleur, take pity of your town and of your people, whilst yet my soldiers are in my command, whilst yet the cool and temperate wind of grace o'erblows the filthy and contagious clouds of heady murder, spoil, and villainy. If not, why, in a moment, look to see the blind and bloody soldier with foul head, desire the locks of your shrill, shrieking daughters, your fathers taken by the silver beards, and their most reverend heads dashed to the walls. Your naked infants spirited upon pikes, whilst the mad mothers with their howls confused do break the clouds, as did the wives of Jewry at Herod's bloody hunting slaughtermen. What say you? Will you yield, and this avoid, or guilty in defense be thus destroyed? And the governor.
Our expectation hath this day an end. The Dauphin, whom of succors we entreated, returns us that his powers are yet not ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great king, we yield our town and lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, dispose of us and ours, for we no longer are defensible.
Open your gates. Come, Uncle Exeter, go you and enter Harfleur. There remain, and fortify it strongly against the French. Use mercy to them all for us, dear uncle. The winter coming on, and sickness growing upon our soldiers, we will retire to Calais. Tonight, in Harfleur, we will be your guest. Tomorrow, for the march, we are addressed. Flourish, exit. Scene 4, enter Catherine and Alice, an old gentlewoman.
Alice, es tu étais en Angleterre et tu parles bien de langue.
Good, madame.
Je te prie, mon sickness. Il faut que j'apprenne à parler. Comment appelez-vous la main en anglais?
Le monde, il a dit hand.
The hand. Et les Deutsch?
Les Deutsch, ma foi de les Deutsch, mais Jimmy Subi draw, les Deutsch, j'ai pensé qu'elles sont épelles des fingers. Oh, the finger.
La main, the hand. Les Deutsch, les fingers. Je pense que je suis le bon écolier. Je gagne 12 mots d'anglais vitement. Comment appelez-vous les anglais?
Les anglais, mostly appellent the nails.
The nails. Encontré. Dites-moi si je parle bien the hand, the fingers, et the nails.
Beyond, madame. il vos formed bon angelos?
Dites moi l'anglais pour les bras.
Dior, madame.
Et le conde?
The elbow.
Elbow. Je m'en fais la répétition de tous les mots que vous m'avez appris à présent.
Il est trop difficile, madame, comme j'ai pensé.
Excuse-moi, Alice. Je accuse the hand, the finger, the nails, the arm, the pillow.
The elbow, madame.
Oh, signor Deo, je m'oublie the elbow. Comment appelez-vous le col?
The neck, madame.
The neck. Et le menton?
The chin.
The chin. Le so, the neck. Le menton, the chin.
Oui, so ventre on a evening treat. Vous prononcez the mouth aussi trait prédas natif d'Angleterre.
Je me doute point de prendre par la grâce de Dieu et en Dieu de tombs.
Oh, never certain pour la déjà oblique si que vous en insire.
Non, je citerai a voice promptement the hand, the finger, the nails.
The nails, madame.
The nails, the arm, the elbow.
Tough rotary, the whole hour. The elbow.
Eins je the elbow, the neck, et the chin. Comment appelez-vous le pied et la robe?
The foot, madame. The don con.
Le foot et le camp. O signor Deo, ils sont les mots de son mauvais, corruptible, gros et impudique, et non pour les dames d'honneur douceur, je ne voudrais prononcer ces mots devant les signos de France pour tout le monde. Oh, le foot et le compte. Néanmoins, je reciterai une autre fois ma leçon ensemble. The hand, the finger, the nails, the arm, the elbow, the neck, the chin, the foot, le compte.
Excellent, madame.
Cesta es por una fois. Allons nous à dîner.
They exit. Scene 6. Enter King of France, the Dauphin, the Duke of Brittany, the Constable of France, and others.
'Tis certain he had passed the river Somme.
And if he be not fought with all, my lord, let us not live in France. Let us quit us all, and give our vineyards to a barbarous people.
David?
I'm sorry, I was skipping ahead. Let me find my place here. Scene 5?
Yes.
Au Dieu vivant, shall a few sprays of us, the emptying of our father's luxury, our skins, put in wild and savage stock, spurt up so suddenly into the clouds and overlook their grafters?
Normans, but bastard Normans, Norman bastards, more than if they march along unfought withal, but I will sell my dukedom to buy a slobbery and a dirty farm in that nook-shotten isle of Albion.
Do the bailes, where have they but this metal, it is not their climate foggy, roar and dull, on whom has in despite the sun looks pale, killing their fruit with frowns? Can sodden water a drench for sewer rain jades, their barley broth, they cooked their cold blood to such valiant heat? Or shall our quick blood, spirited with wine, seem frosty? Or for honor of our land, let us not hang like roping icicles upon our houses' thatch, whiles a more frosty people. Sweat drops of gallant youth on our rich fields, poor we may call them in their native lords.
By faith and honor, our madams mock at us and plainly say our metal is bred out, and they will give their bodies to the lust of English youth, to new store France with bastard warriors.
They bid us to the English dancing schools and teach levoltas high and swift corantos, saying our grace is only in our heels and that we are most lofty runaways.
Where is Montjoy the herald? Speed him hence. Let him greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princes, and with spirit of honor, edged more sharper than your swords, high to the field. Charles Delibrat, High Constable of France, you Dukes of Arline, Bourbon, and Berry, Alcenon, Barbon, Bar, and Burgundy, Jacques, Chatillon, Rambourg, Vaudemont, Beaumont, Grandpré, Roussy, Beaucambridge, Bois, Lestrade, Boucicaut, and Charlois. High Dukes, great princes, baron lords, and knights, for your great seats. Now quit you of great shames, far harry England that sweeps through our land, with pennons painted in the blood of Harfleur. Rush on his host as doth the melted snow upon the valleys, whose low vassal seat the Alps doth spit and void his room upon. Go down upon him, you have power enough, and in captive chariot into Rouen, bring him our prisoner.
This becomes the great Saia. His numbers are so few, his soldiers sick and famished in their march. For I am sure, when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom.
Therefore, Lord Constable, haste on Montjoy, and let him say to England that we send to know what willing ransom he will give. Prince Dauphin, you shall stay with us in Rouen.
Not so, I do beseech your majesty.
Be patient, for you shall remain with us. Now forth, Lord Constable, and princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall.
They exit. Enter captains, English and Welsh, Gower and Llewellyn. Brandon? Brandon?
Oh, I'm sorry, I have my sound up. How now, Captain Llewellyn? Come you from the bridge?
I assure you there is very excellent services committed at the bridge.
Is the Duke of Exeter safe?
The Duke of Exeter is a magnanimous as Agamemnon, and a man that I love and honor with my soul and my heart and my duty and my life and my living and my uttermost power. He is not, God be praised and blessed, any hurt in the world, but keeps the bridge most valiantly with excellent discipline. There is an ancient lieutenant there at the bridge. I think in my very conscience he is as valiant as a man as Mark Antony, and he is a man of no estimation in the world, but did see him do his gallant service.
Do you call him?
He is called Ancient Pistol.
I know him not.
Here is the man.
Captain, I thee beseech
Mr. Pistol?
favors. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well.
Aye, I praise God, and I have merited some love at his hands.
Ardolf, a soldier firm and sound of heart and of buxom valor, hath by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind that stands upon the rolling restless stone.
By your patience, Ancient Pistol, Fortune is painted blind with a muffler for her eyes, to signify to you that Fortune is blind, and she is painted also with a wheel to signify to you, which is the moral of it, that she is turning and inconstant and mutability and variation, and her foot, look you, is fixed upon a spherical stone, which rolls and rolls and rolls. In good truth, the poet makes a most excellent description of it. Fortune is an excellent moral.
Fortune is Bardolph's foe, and frowns on him, for he hath stolen a pax, and hanged must he be, a damned death. Let gallows gape for dog, let man go free, and let not hemp his windpipe suffocate. But Exeter hath given the doom of death for pax of little price. Therefore go speak. The Duke will hear thy voice, and let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny core, vile reproach. Speak, Captain, for his life, and I will thee requite.
Ancient pistol, I do partly understand your meaning.
Why then rejoice therefore.
Certainly, ancient, it is not a thing to rejoice at. For if, look you, he were my brother, I would desire the Duke to use his good pleasure and put him to execution, for discipline ought to be used.
Die and be damned, and bigo for thy friendship.
It is well.
A fig of Spain.
He exits.
Very good.
This is an arrant counterfeit rascal. Remember him now, a bawd, a cutpurse.
I'll assure you, he uttered his brave words at the bridge, as you shall see in a summer's day. But it is very well. But he has spoke to me, that is well, I warrant you, when time is served.
Why, 'tis a gull, a fool, a rogue. That now and then goes to the wars to grace himself at his return into London under the form of a soldier. And such fellows are perfect in the great commanders' names, and they will learn. You by road where services were done at such and such, and scouts at such a breach, at such a convoy who came off bravely, who was shot, who disgraced what terms the enemy stood on, and this they con perfectly in the phrase of war, which they trick up with new turned oaths, and beard of the general's cut, and a horrid suit of the camp, will be among framing bottles and ill-washed wits, is wonderful to be thought on. But you must learn to know such slanders of the age, or else you may be marvelously mistook.
I tell you what, Captain Gower, I do perceive he is not the man that he would gladly make to show the world he is. If I find a hole in his coat, I will tell him my mind.
Drum and colours enter the King of England and his soldiers and Gloucester.
Hark you, the king is coming, and I must speak with him from the bridge. God bless your majesty.
How now, Llewellyn, comest thou from the bridge?
Aye, so please your majesty. The Duke of Exeter has very gallantly maintained the bridge. The French is gone off, look you, and there is a gallant and most brave passages. Merry, the adversary, was have possession of the bridge, but he is enforced to retire, and the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. I can tell your majesty, the Duke is a brave man.
What men have you lost, Llewellyn?
The perdition of the adversary hath been very great, reasonable great. Mary, for my part, I think the Duke hath lost never a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a church, one Bardolph, if your majesty know the man. His face is all bubbacles and whelks and knobs and flames of fire, and his lips blows at his nose, and it is like a coal of fire, sometimes blue and sometimes red, but his nose is executed and his fire is out.
We would have all such offenders so cut off, and we give express charge to that in our marches through the country there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for, none of the French upbraided or abused in disdainful language, for when lenity, and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner. Enter Tucket, enter Montjoy.
You know me by habits?
Well then, I know thee. What shall I know of thee?
My master's mind.
Unfold it.
Thus says my king, say thou to Harry of England, though we but seem dead, we did but sleep. Advantage is a better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could have rebuffed him with half flirt, but that we thought not good to bruise and injuries that were full ripe. Now we speak upon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him therefore consider of his ransom, which must proportion to the losses we have borne, the subjects we have lost, the disgrace we have digested, which in waits to re-answer his pettiness would bow under. For our losses, his exchequer is too poor for the effusion of our blood, the muster of his kingdom, too faint a number. For our disgrace, his own person, kneeling at our foot, but a weak and worthless satisfaction. To this add defiance, and tell him, for conclusion, he hath betrayed his followers, whose condemnation is pronounced. So far my king and master, so much my office.
What is thy name? I know thy quality.
Mountjoy.
Thou dost thy office fairly. Turn thee back, and tell thy king I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais without impeachment, for to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much, unto an enemy of craft and vantage. My people are with sickness much enfeebled. My numbers lessened, and those few I have almost no better than so many French, who, when they were in health, I tell thee, herald, I thought upon one pair of English legs did march thee 3 Frenchmen. Yet forgive me, God, that I do brag thus. This your heir of France hath blown that vice in me. I must repent. Go therefore, tell thy master, here I am. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk, my army but a weak and sickly guard. Yet God before, tell him we will come on, though France himself and such another neighbor stand in our way. Here's for thy labor, Mountjoy. Go bid thy master well advise himself, and we may pass. We will, if we be hindered, we shall your tawny guard with your red blood. Ground, we shall tawny ground with your red blood, this color. And so, Mountjoy, fare you well. The sum of all our answer is but this. We would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are. We say we will not shun it. So tell your master.
I should deliver so. Thanks, your highness.
I hope they will not come upon us now.
We are in God's hand, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge. It now draws toward night. Beyond the river we'll encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow bid them march away. Exit. Scene 7. Enter Constable of France, Lord Rambourus, Orleans Dauphine with others.
Good, I had the best armor of the world. Would they?
You have an excellent armor, but let my horse have his due.
It is the best horse of Europe.
Well, every morning.
My lord of Orleans, and my lord High Constable, you talk of horse and armor?
You are as well provided as both as any prince in the world.
What a long night is this. I will not change my horse with any that treads but on 4 pasterns. Sir, He bounds from the earth as if his entrails were hares, the cheval volant, the Pegasus, qui a les narines de faux. When I bestrid him, I soar. I'm a hawk. He trots the air. The earth sings when he touches it. The basest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipe of Hermes.
And he's the color of the nutmeg.
And of the heat of the ginger, it is a beast for Perseus. He is pure air and fire. The dull elements of earth and water never appear in him. but only in patient stillness while his rider mounts him. He is indeed a horse, and all other jades you may call beasts.
Indeed, my lord, as it is most absolute and excellent horse.
It is the prince of palfreys. His neigh is like the bidding of a monarch, and his countenance enforce homage.
No more, cousin.
Nay, the man hath no wit that cannot. From the rising of the lark to the lodging of the lamb, very deserved praise on my palfrey. It is a theme as fluent as the sea. Turn the sands into eloquent tongues. My horse is an argument for them all. It is a subject for a sovereign to reason on, for a sovereign to ride on, for the world familiar to us and unknown, to lay apart their particular functions and wonder at him. I once writ a sonnet in his praise and began thus, wonder of nature.
I have heard a sonnet begin so to one's mistress.
Then did they imitate that which I compared to my courser? For my horse. My horse is my mistress.
Your mistress fares well.
Me well, which is the prescript praise and perfection of a good and particular mistress.
Nay, for methought yesterday your mistress shrewdly shook your back.
So perhaps did yours.
Mine was not bridled.
Oh, then belike she was old and gentle, and you rode like a kern of Ireland, your French horse off, and then in your straight Strassers.
You have good judgment in horsemanship.
Be warned by me then. They that ride so and ride not warily fall into foul bogs. I had rather have my horse to my mistress.
I had as lief made my mistress a jade.
I tell thee, constable, my mistress wears his own hair.
I could make as true a boast as that as if I had the so to my mistress.
Le chien est retourné à son propre vomissement et la truite l'avait à barbeur.
Yet I do
I'll
not
make
use.
use of anything.
Yet I do not use my horse for my mistress, or any such proverb so keen to the purpose.
My Lord Constable, the armor that I saw in your tent tonight, are those stars or suns upon it?
Stars, my lord,
Some of them will fall tomorrow, I hope.
and yet I hope shall not want.
That may be, for you beat a many superfluously, and 'twere more honor somewhere away.
Even as your horse bears your praises, who would trotters were some of your brags dismounted?
Would I were able to load them with his dessert. Will it never be day? I will trot tomorrow, a mile, and my way shall be paved with English faces.
I will not say so for fear I should be faced out of my way, but I would it were morning, for I would fain be about the ears of the English.
Who will go hazard with me for 20 prisoners?
And first you must yourself to hazard ere you have them.
'Tis midnight, I'll go on myself.
The Dauphin longs for morning.
He longs to eat the English.
I think he will eat all the he kills.
By the white hand of my lady, he's a gallant prince.
Swear by her foot that she may tread up the oath.
He is simply the most active gentleman of France.
Doing his activity, and he will still be doing.
He never did harm that I've heard of.
Nor will do none tomorrow. He will keep that good name still.
I know him to be valiant.
As I was told that by one who knows him better than you.
What's he?
Marry, he told me so himself, and he said he cared not who knew it.
He needs not. It is no hidden virtue in him.
By my faith, sir, but it is. Never anybody saw it but his lackey. 'Tis a hooded fellow, and when it appears, it will be bait.
Ill will never said well.
I will cut that proverb with, there is flattery in friendship.
And I will take that up with give the devil his due.
Well placed. There stands your friend for the devil. Have at the very eye of that proverb with a pox of the devil.
You are the better at proverbs. By how much? A fool's bolt is soon shot.
You have shot over.
Is not the first time you were overshot.
Enter a messenger.
My Lord High Constable, the English are lie within 1,500 paces of your tents.
Who hath measured the ground?
The Lord Grand Pré.
A failing to most expert gentleman. Would it were today? Alas, poor Harry of England, he longs not for the dawning as we do.
What a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England to mope with his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge.
If the English had any apprehension, they would run away.
That they lack, for if their heads had any intellectual armor, they could never wear such heavy headpieces.
That island of England breeds very valiant creatures. Their mastiffs are of unmatchable courage.
Foolish curs that run winking into the mouth of a Russian bear and have their heads crushed like rotten apples. You may as well say there's a valiant flea that dare not eat his breakfast on the lip of a lion.
Just. And the men do sympathize with the mastiffs in robustness and wrath coming on, leaving their wits and with their wives, but then give them great meals of beef and iron and steel. They will eat like wolves and fight like devils.
But these English are shrewdly out of book.
Then shall we find tomorrow they have only stomachs to eat and none to fight. How is it time to arm? Come, shall we find it?
It is now 2:00. Let me see. By 10, we shall each have 100 English men.
They exit. Okay, and we will take a 5-minute break. See everybody in 5 minutes.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thanks, Vincent.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
See you in 5.
5:30.
Half past, yes.
I won't say the hour because it's different over here.
Yes.
Hey, Mark, I was going to say my wife actually played so well in a production in upstate New York not so long ago. She had a great time beating people over the head with a leek.
Oh.
One more minute.
Where in upstate New York was that? That's where I went to school.
No, it was only about, north of Poughkeepsie, just north of Poughkeepsie, there's an art center. Rhinebeck.
Rhinebeck, yeah, sure. That's Hudson Valley.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
When we first came to the New York area, we lived in Verplanck.
Oh, the other side of the river, right?
Yeah, then we moved down to Manhattan and stayed there for a while. And then when it became we needed to have a house rather than have a 600 square foot flat so that my daughter could bring the kids over, we moved up to Beacon.
Oh, yeah.
I-84, the I-84 crossing.
Right. The hilly side of the river.
Yeah.
That's
We ran the Bricktown Theater, and I had NY, off the cuff NY, New York. We sort of did workshops and the like.
Okay, we are back. I hope is everyone back. If you're not back, let me know.
Yep. I'm back.
Are we still recording, Angus?
Oh, yes, still recording.
Okay.
All sorts of stuff's been recording. Still recording.
Okay, so we will start. Am I here? Yes, I am. I should activate my video and home stretch here. Okay, Act 4. Enter chorus.
Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. Camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds. At the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the night's dull ears. From the tents, the armorers, accomplishing the nights with busy hammers, closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation. The country cocks do crow, the clocks do toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning named. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and overlusty French do the low-rated English play at dice. Chide the crippled, tardy-gated knight, who like a foul and ugly witch doth limp so tediously away. The poor condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger. And their gesture, sad, investing lank lean cheeks and war-worn coats, presenteth them unto the gazing moon so many horrid ghosts. Oh, now, who would behold the royal captain of this ruined band? Walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent, let him cry praise and glory on his head. Or forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him, nor doth he dedicate one jot of color into the weary and all-watched night, but freshly looks and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, that every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks. A largesse universal like the sun, his liberal eye doth give to everyone, thawing cold fear, that mean and gentle all behold, as may unworthiness define, a little touch of Harry in the night. And so our scene must to the battle fly, where, oh, for pity, we shall much disgrace with 4 or 5 most vile and ragged foils, right ill disposed in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt. Yet sit and see. minding true things by what their mockeries be.
He exits. Scene 1. Enter King of England, Bedford, and Gloucester. Gloucester, 'tis true that we are in great danger. The greater, therefore, should our courage be. Good morrow, brother Bedford. God Almighty, there is some soul of goodness in things evil. Would men observingly distill it out? For our bad neighbor makes us early stirrers, which is both healthful and good husbandry. Besides, they are our outward consciences, our preachers to us all, admonishing that we should dress us fairly for our end. Thus may we gather honey from the weed and make a moral of the devil himself. Good morrow, sir. Old Sir Thomas Erpingham. A good soft pillow for that good white head were better than a curlish turf of France.
Not so, my liege. This lodging likes me better, since I may say, now lie I like a king.
'Tis good for men to love their present pains. Upon example, so the spirit is eased. And when the mind is quickened out of doubt, the organs, though defunct and dead before, break up their drowsy grave and newly move with chaste sloth and fresh legarity. Lend me thy cloak, Sir Thomas. Brothers both, commend me to the princes in our camp. Do my good morrow to them, and anon desire them all to my pavilion.
We shall, my liege.
Shall I attend your grace?
No, my good knight. Go with my brothers to my lords of England. I and my bosom must debate a while, and then I would no other company.
The Lord in heaven bless thee, noble Harry.
God of mercy, old heart, thou speakest cheerfully. Enter Pistol. Pistol?
Oui, vouloir.
A friend.
Discuss unto me. Art thou officer, or art thou base, common, and popular?
I am a gentleman of a company.
Trailst thou the puissant pike?
Even so, what are you?
As good a gentleman as the emperor.
Then you are better than the king.
The king's a bawcock and a heart of gold, a lad of life, an imp of fame, appearance good, a fist most valiant. I kiss his dirty shoe, and from heartstring I love the lovely bully. What is thy name?
Harry Leroy.
Leroy? French name. Art thou of Cornish crew?
No, I am a Welshman.
Knowst thou Fluellen?
Yes.
Tell him I'll knock his leak about his pate upon St. Davy's Day.
Do not you wear your dagger in your cap that day, lest he knock that about yours.
Art thou his friend?
And his kinsman too.
The figo for thee then.
I thank you. God
My name
bless.
My name is Pistol called.
It sorts well with your fierceness. Enter Llewellyn and Gower. Brandon?
Captain Llewellyn.
So, in the name of Jesus Christ, speak lower. It is the greatest admiration of the universal world when the true and ancient fates and laws of wars that is not kept. If you would take the pains but to examine the wars of Pompey the Great, you shall find, I warrant you, that there is no tiddle-tuddle nor pibble-pabble in Pompey's camp. I warrant you, you shall find the ceremonies of the wars, and the cares of it, and the forms of it, and the sobriety of it, and the modesty of it to be otherwise.
Why, the enemy is loud. You hear him all night.
If the enemy is an ass and a fool, and a prating coxcomb, is it meet, think you, that we should also look you, be an ass and a fool and a prating coxcomb? In your own conscience now?
I will speak lower.
I pray you, beseech you that you will.
Though it appear a little out of fashion, there is much care and valor in this Welshman. Enter soldiers John Bates, Alexander Court, and Michael Williams.
Brother John Bates, is that like the morning which breaks yonder?
I think it be, but we have no great cause to desire the approach of day.
We see yonder the beginning of the day, but I think we shall never see the end of it. Who goes there?
A friend.
Under what captain serve you?
Under Sir Thomas Erpingham.
A good old commander and a most kind gentleman. I pray you, what thinks he of our estate?
Even as men racked upon the sand that look to be washed off the next tide.
He hath not told his thought to the king.
No, nor is it not meet he should, for though I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man as I am. The violet smells to him as it doth to me. The element shows to him as it doth to me. All his senses have but human conditions, the ceremonies laid by, and his nakedness he appears but a man. And though his affections are higher mounted than ours, yet when they stoop with a like wing. Therefore, he sees reason of fears as we do. His fears, out of doubt, do be of the same relish as ours are. Yet in reason no man should possess him with any appearance of fear, lest he, by showing it, should dishearten his army.
He may show what outward courage he will, but I believe as cold a night as 'tis, he could wish himself in Thames up to the neck. And so I would be here, and I by him at all adventures, so we were quit here.
By my troth, I will speak my conscience of the king. I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
And I would be where he are alone. So should he be sure to be ransomed, and a many a poor men's lives saved.
I dare you say you love him not so ill to wish him here alone. Howsoever you speak this, to feel other men's minds. Methinks I could not die anywhere but contented as in the king's company, his cause being just, and his quarrel honourable.
That's more than we know.
More than we should seek after, for we know enough if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But if the cause be not good, the king himself hath a heavy reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in a battle shall join together at the latter day, and cry all, we died at such a place, some swearing, some crying for a sergeant, some upon their wives left poor behind them, some upon the debts they owe, some upon their children rawly left. I am feared there are few die well that die in battle, for how can they charitably dispose of anything when blood is their argument? Now if these men do not die well, will it be a black matter for the king that led them to it, who to disobey were against all proportion of subjection.
So if a son that is by his father sent about merchandise do sinfully miscarry upon the sea, the imputation of his wickedness by your rule should be imposed upon his father that sent him. Or if a servant under the master's command transporting a sum of money be assailed by robbers and die in many irreconciled iniquities, you may call the business of the masters the author of the servant's damnation. But this is not so. The king is not bound to answer the particular endings of his soldiers. The father of his son, the master of his servants, for they propose not their death when they propose their services. Besides, there is no king to be his cause. There is no king be his cause never so spotless, if it come to the arbitrament of swords. Can try it out with all unspotted soldiers. Some peradventure have on them the guilt of premeditated and contrived murder. Some of beguiling virgins with the broken seals of perjury. Some making the wars their bulwark that have before gored the gentle bosom of peace with pillage and robbery. Now, if these men have defeated the law and outrun native punishment, though they can outstrip men, they have no wings to fly from God. War is his beadle. War is his vengeance. So that here men are punished for before breach of the king's laws. And now the king's quarrel, where they feared the death, they have borne life away. And where they would be safe, they perish. Then if they die unprovided, no more is the king's guilty of their damnation than he was before guilty of those impieties for which they are now visited. Every subject's duty is the king's, but every subject's soul is his own. Therefore should every soldier in the wars do as every sick man in his bed wash every mote out of his conscience. And dying so, death is to him advantage, or not dying. The time was blessedly lost, wherein such preparation was gained, and in him that escapes, it were not sin to think that, making God so free an offer, he let him outlive the day to see his greatness and to teach others how they should prepare.
'Tis certain, every man that dies ill, the ill upon his own head, the king is not to answer it.
But I do not desire he should answer for me, and yet I determined to fight lustily for him.
I myself heard the king say he would not be ransomed.
Aye, he said so, to make us fight cheerfully. But when our throats are cut, he may be ransomed, and we ne'er the wiser.
If I live to see it, I will never trust his word after.
You pay him then. That's a perilous shot out of an elder gun, that a poor and private displeasure can do against a monarch. You may as well go about to turn the sun into ice with fanning in its face with a peacock feather. We'll never trust his word after. It's a foolish saying.
Your reproof is something to round. I should be angry with you if the time were convenient.
Let it be a quarrel between us, if you live.
I embrace it.
How now shall I know thee then, again?
Give me any gage of thine, and I will wear it in my bonnet. Then if ever thou darest acknowledge it, I will make it my quarrel.
Here's my glove. Give me another of thine.
There.
This will I also wear in my cap. If thou come to me and say after tomorrow, this is my glove, by this hand I will take thee a box on your ear.
If ever I live to see it, I will challenge it.
Thou darest as well be hanged.
Well, I will do it, though I take thee in the king's company.
Keep thy word. Fare thee well.
Be friends, you English fools, be friends. We have French quarrels enow, if you could tell how to reckon.
Indeed, the French may lay 20 French crowns to one they will beat us, for they bear them on their shoulders. But It is no English treason to cut French crowns, and tomorrow the king himself will be a clipper. Upon the king, let our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all hand condition, twin-born with greatness, subject to the breath of every fool, whose sense no more can feel but his own ringing. What infinite heart's case must kings neglect that private men enjoy? And what have kings that privates have not too, save ceremony, save general ceremony? And what art thou, thou idle ceremony? What kind of God art thou that sufferest more of moral griefs than do thy worshippers? What are they rents? What are they comings in? O ceremony, show me but thy worth. But it is thy soul of adoration. Art thou aught else but place, degree, and form, creating awe and fear in other men, wherein thou art less happy, being feared? Then they in fearing. What drinkest thou oft instead of homage sweet, but prisoned flattery? Oh, be sick, great greatness, and bid thy ceremony give thee cure. Think thou'st the fiery fever will go out? What titles blown from adulation? Will it give place to flexure and low bending? Canst thou, when thou commandest the beggar's knee, command the health of it? No, thou proud dream, that playest so subtly with a king's repose. I am a king that find thee, and I know 'tis not the balm of scepter and the ball, the sword, the mace, the crown imperial, the interissued robe of gold and pearl, the farced title running for the king, the throne he sits on, nor the tide of pomp that beats upon the high shore of this world. No, not all these, thrice gorgeous ceremony, not all these, laid in bed, majestical, can sleep so soundly as the wretched slave who, with body filled and vacant mind, gets him to rest, crammed with distressful bread, never sees horrid night, the child of hell, but like a lackey from the rise to set, sweats in the eye of Phoebus, and all night sleeps in asylum next day after dawn, doth rise and help Hyperion to his horse, and follows so the ever-running year with profitable labour to his grave. And but for ceremony, such a wretch, winding up days with toil and nights with sleep, had for hand and vintage of a king, the slave, a member of the country's peace, enjoys it, but in gross brain little works. What watch the king keeps to maintain the peace, whose ours the peasant best advantages. Enter Erpingham.
My lord, your nobles, jealous of your absence, seek through your camp to find you.
Good old knight, collect them all together at my tent. I'll be before thee.
I shall do it, my lord.
O God of battles, steel my soldiers' hearts, possess them not with fear. Take them from now, the sense of reckoning, or the opposed numbers. Pluck their hearts from them. Not today, O Lord. Oh, not today. Think not upon the fault my father made in compassing the crown. I, Richard's body, have interred new, and on it have bestowed more contrite tears than from it issued forced drops of blood. 500 poor I have in yearly pay, who twice a day their withered hands hold up toward heaven to pardon blood. And I have built 2 chantries where the sad and solemn priests sing still for Richard's soul. More will I do, though all that I can do is nothing worth, since that my penitence comes after all, imploring pardon. Enter Gloucester.
My liege,
My brother Gloucester's voice. I know thy errand. I will go with thee, the day my friends and all things stay for me. They exit. Scene 2. Enter Dauphine, Orleans, Ramorus, and Beaumont.
The sun doth gild our armor. Up, my lords.
Montez cheval, my horse. Pardon, lackey, ha!
O brave spirit,
D'y aller haut et terre.
rien puis, l'air et le feu.
C'est all, cousin Orleans.
Enter Constable.
Now, my constable.
Missy.
Yes. Hark how our steeds for present service neigh.
Mount them and make incision in their hides, that their hot blood may spin in English eyes, and do doubt them with superfluous courage. Ha!
What? Will you have them weep our horses' blood? How shall we then behold their natural tears?
Enter Messenger.
The English are in battle, you French peers.
To horse, you gallant princes, straight to horse, but do but behold yond poor and starved band, and your fair show shall suck away their souls, leaving them but the shells and husks of men. There is not work enough for all our hands, scarce blood enough in all their sickly veins to give each naked kirtle axe a stain, that our French gallants today draw out and sheath for lack of sport. Let us but blow on them, the vapor of our valour will overturn them. 'Tis positive against all exceptions, lords, that our superfluous lackeys and our peasants, who in unnecessary action swarm about our squares of battle, were enough to purge this field of such a hilding foe, though we upon this mountain spaces by took stand for idle speculation, that by our honours must not. What's to say? 'Tis a very little let us do, and all is done. Then let the trumpet sound, the tucket summons, and the note to mount, for our approach shall so much dare the field, that England shall couch down in fear and yield.
Enter Grand Pré. Brandon? Brandon, are you there? All right. Why do you stay so long, my lords of France? Yond island courions, desperate of their bones, ill-favorably become the morning field. Their ragged curtains poorly are let loose, and our air skates them passing scornfully. Big Mars seems bankrupt in their braggart host, and family through rusty Beaver peeps. The horsemen sight like fixed candlesticks, with torches staves in their hand, and their poor jades lob down their heads, drooping the hides and hips, the gum down roping from their pale dead eyes, and in their pale dull mouths the gamelid bit lies foul with chawed grass, still and motionless, and their executors, the knavish crowns, fly over them all, impatient for their hour. Description cannot suit itself in words to demonstrate the life of such a battle, in life so lifeless as it shows itself.
They have said their prayers, and they stay for death.
Shall we go send them dinners and fresh suits, and give them fasting give their fasting horses provender, and after fight with them?
I stayed but for my God, and to the field I will the banner from a trumpet take, and use it for my haste. Come, away, the sun is high, and we outwear the day.
They exit. Enter Gloucester, Bedford, Exeter, Erpingham, with all his hosts, Salisbury and Westmoreland.
Where is the king?
The king
King
himself is
himself is rode to view their battle.
Of fighting men they have full 70,000.
It's 5 to 1. Besides, they're all fresh.
God's arms strike with us. 'Tis a fearful odds. God be with you, princes all. I'll go to my charge. If we no more meet till we meet in heaven, then joyfully, my noble lord of Bedford, my dear lord Gloucester, and my lord good Exeter, and my kind kinsmen, warriors all, adieu.
Farewell, good Salisbury, and good luck go with thee. And yet I do thee
Farewell.
wrong to mind thee of it, for thou art framed of a firm truth of valor.
Farewell, my lord. Fight valiantly today. Salisbury exits.
He is as full of valor as of kindness, princely in both.
Oh, that we now had here but 1/10,000 of those men in England that do no work today.
What's that he wishes so, my cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous of gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear, such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I am the most offending soul alive. Now, faith you, cuz, 'tis not a man from England, God's peace, I would not lose so great an honor, as one man more methinks would share from me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach for this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly on the vigil feast of his neighbors say, tomorrow is Saint Crispian. Then he will strip his sleeve and show his scars. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, and Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. Story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day to the end of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, and be ne'er so vile this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day. Enter Salisbury.
My sovereign lord, bestow yourself with speed. The French are bravely in their battles set, and will with all expedience charge on us.
All things are ready, if our minds be so.
Perish the man whose mind is backward now.
Thou dost not wish more help from England, coz?
God's will, my liege. Would you and I alone, without more help, could fight this royal battle?
Why, now thou hast unwished 5,000 men, which likes me better than to wish us one. You know your places. God be with you all. Tucken, enter Montjoy.
Once more I come to know thee, King Harry, if what I ransom now is now command, before thy most assured overthrow, for certainly thou art so near the gulf that thou must be engulfed. Besides, in mercy, the constable desires thee thou wilt mind thy followers of repentance, that their souls may make a peaceful and sweet retire from off these fields where wretches, their poor bodies must lie and fester.
Who hath sent thee now?
The Constable of France.
I pray thee, bear my former answer back. Bid them achieve me, and then sell my bones. Good God, why should they mock poor fellows thus? The man that once did sell the lion skin while the beast lived was killed with hunting him. Many of our bodies shall no doubt find native graves, upon the which I trust shall witness live in brass of this day's work. And those that leave their valiant bones in France, dying like men, though buried in your dung hills, they shall be famed for their son, for there the sun shall greet them, and draw their honors reeking up to heaven, leaving their earthly parts to choke your clime. The smell whereof shall breed a plague in France. Mark then abounding valor in our English, that being dead, like to the bullets crazing, break out into a second course of mischief, killing in relapse of morality. Let me speak proudly. Tell the constable we are but warriors for the working day. Our gayness and our guilt are all besmirched with rainy marching in the painful field. There's not a piece of feather in our host. Good argument, I hope. We will not fly, and time hath worn us into slovenry. But by the mass, our hearts are in the trim. By my poor soldiers tell me, and my poor soldiers tell me, yet ere night, they'll be in fisher robes, or they will pluck the gay new coats o'er the French soldiers' heads, and turn them out of service. If they do this, as if God please, they shall my ransom then will soon be levied. Herald, save thou thy labor. Come thou no more for ransom, gentle herald. They shall have none, I swear, but these, my joints, which if they have, as I will leave them, so yield them little. Tell the constable.
I shall, King Harry, and so fare thee well. Thou never shalt hear from herald no more.
I fear there wilt once more come again for a ransom. Enter York.
My lord, most humbly on my knee I beg the leading of the vaward.
Take it, brave York. Now, soldiers, march away, and how thou pleasest God, dispose the day. They exit. Alarms, excursions, enter pistol, French soldier, and boy.
Yield her.
Je pense quis vous estas, gentle home de bonne qualité.
Quality. Call me Custormi. Art thou a gentleman? What is thy name? Discuss.
Ah, Seigneur Dieu.
Oh, Signor Dew should be a gentleman. Repent my words, oh, Signor Dew, and mark. O Signor, do thou dayest on point of fox, except, O Signor, thou dost give me egregious ransom.
Prenez miséricorde, ayez pitié de moi.
Moi shall not serve. I have 40 mois, or I will fetch thy rim out of thy throat in drops of crimson blood.
Est-il impossible d'échapper les forces de transbranche?
Brass, cur! Thou damned and luxurious mountain goat offerest me brass?
Oh, pardonnez-moi.
Say'st thou me so? Is that a ton of mois? Come hither, boy. Ask me this slave in French. What is his name?
Écoutez, comment êtes-vous appelé?
Monsieur le Fer.
He says his name is Master Fur.
Master Fur. I'll fur him, and furk him, and ferret him. Discuss the name in French unto him.
I do not know the French for fur and ferret and furk.
Bid him prepare, for I will cut his throat.
Qu'est-il, monsieur?
Me commandez-vous de que vos faites vos prêtres, car ce soldat ici est disposé toute cette heure de couper votre gorge.
Oui, couper gorge, per ma foi. Peasant, unless thou givest me crowns, brave crowns, or mangled shalt thou be in this by this my sword.
Oh, je vous supplie, pour le mal de Dieu, me pardonnez. Je suis gentlehomme de bon moisson. God is mauvais, et je vous donner tout sans excuse.
What are his words?
He prays you to save his life. He is a gentleman of a good house, and for his ransom he will give you 200 crowns.
Tell him my fury shall abate, and I the crowns will take.
Petit monsieur, que dit-il?
En quel est contre son jurement de pardonner au comprisinier, néanmoins pour les échos que vous lui avez promis, il est content de vous donner l'habitude, le franchissement.
Sur monsieur, je vous donne 1000 remerciements, et je m'estère que je suis tombé entre les mains d'un chevalier. Je pensais le plus brave et valiant et très distingué seigneur de l'Angleterre.
Expound unto me, boy.
He gives you upon his knees 1,000 thanks, and he esteems himself happy that he hath fallen into the hands of one, as he thinks, the most brave, valorous, and thrice worthy seigneur of England.
As I suck blood, I will some mercy show. Follow me.
Sauvez-vous, le grand capitaine? I did not know so full a voice issue from so empty a heart, but the saying is true. The empty vessel makes the greatest sound. Bardolph and Nin had 10 times more valour than this roaring devil by the whole old play, that everyone may pare his snails with a wooden dagger, and they are both hanged. And I would this be if he durst steal anything adventurously. I must stay with the lackeys and with the luggage of our cab. The French might have a good prey of us if he knew of it, for there is none to guard it but boys.
Scene 5. Enter Constable Orleans, Bourbon, Dauphin, and Rambourus.
Oh diable.
Oh Seigneur, le jeu est perdu, le tout est perdu.
Mort de ma vie, all is confounded, all. Reproach and everlasting shame sits mocking in our plumes. Méchant fortune, do not run away.
Why, whole reverence a broke.
Oh, perdurable shame. Let's stab ourselves. Be these the wretches that we played at dice for?
Is this the king we sent to for his ransom?
Angus? Angus? Okay. Shame and eternal shame, nothing but shame. Let us die in once more, back again, and he will not follow Bourbon now. Let him go hence, with this cap in hand, like a base pander, hold the chamber door, whilst by a slave no gender than my dog, his fairest daughter, is contaminate.
Disorder that hath spoiled us, friend us now, let on heaps let go offer up our lives.
We are now yet living in the field to smother up the English in our throngs, if any order might be thought upon.
They will take order now out of the throng. Let life be short, their shame will be too long.
They exit. Okay. Act 6. Enter the King of England with his train with prisoners. Well have we done, thrice valiant countrymen, but all's not done, yet keep the French the field.
Duke of York commands him to your majesty.
Lives he, good uncle? Thrice within this hour I saw him down, thrice up again, and fighting. From helmet to the spur, all blood was his.
In which array, brave soldier, doth he lie, larding the plain, and by his bloody side, yoke fellow to his honour-owing wounds, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York, all haggled over, comes to him, where in gore he lay ensteeped, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes that bloodily did yawn upon his face, and cries aloud, "Tarry, my cousin Suffolk. My soul shall thine keep company in heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine, and fly abreast in this glorious and well-founded field, all kept together in chivalry." Upon these words I came and cheered him up. He smiled me in the face, brought me with his hand, and with his feeble grip says, "Dear my lord, commend my service to my sovereign." So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arm and kissed his lips. So espoused to death with blood he sealed, a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner it forced these waters from which I was stopped, but I had not so much for man in me. So all my mother came into mine eyes and gave me up into tears.
I blame you not. For hearing this, I must perforce compound with my full eyes, or they will issue too. But hark, what new alarm is this same? The French have reinforced their scattered men, then every soldier kill his prisoners. Give the word through. They exit. Scene 7, enter Llewellyn and Gower.
Kill the boys with the luggage. 'Tis expressly against the law of arms. 'Tis as errant a piece of knavery, mark you now, as can be offered in your conscience, now is it not?
'Tis certain there's not a boy left alive, and the cowardly rascals that ran from the band have done this. Water! Besides, they have burned and carried away all that was in the king's tent. Wherefore the king most worthily hath caused every soldier to cut his prisoner's throat. Oh, 'tis a gallant king.
Aye, he was purring at Monmouth, Captain Carter. What call you the town's name where Alexander the Pig was born?
Alexander the Great.
Why, I pray you, is not the pig great? The pig and the great and the mighty and the huge and the magnanimous are all reckonings, save the phrases and little variations.
I think Alexander the Great was born in Macedon. His father was called Philip of Macedon, and I take it.
I think it is in Macedon where Alexander is born. I tell you, Captain, if you look in the maps of the world, find out little comparisons between Macedon and Monmouth, that the situations, look you, is both alike. There is a river in Macedon, and there is also, moreover, a river at Monmouth. It is called Way at Monmouth, but it is out of my brains. What is the name of the other river? But 'tis all one, 'tis all like my fingers, and there is summons in both. If you mark Alexander's life well, Harry of Monmouth's life has come after it in different well. There is figures in all things. Alexander, God knows, and you in his rages and his furies, in his wraths and his chollers, and his moods, and his displeasures, and his indignations, and also being a little intoxicates in his prains, did in his sails and his angers, look you, kill his best friend Clitus.
Our king is not like him in that. He never killed any of his friends.
It is not well done, mark you now. Take the tales out of me mouth, ere it be made and fashioned. I speak but in figures and comparisons of it. As Alexander killed his friend Clitus, being in his Alexes, in his cups, so also Harry Monmouth, being in his right wits and his good judgments, turned away the fat king with a great belly doublet. He was full of jests and jipes and knaveries and mocks. I have forgot his name.
For John Falstaff.
That is he. I'll tell you, there is good men born at Monmouth.
Here comes his majesty.
I was not angry since I came to France until this instant. Take a trumpet, herald. Ride thou unto the horsemen on yon hill. If they will fight with us, bid them come down, or void the field. They do offend our sight if they'll do neither. We will come to them and make them skirt away as swift as stones, enforced from the old Assyrian slings. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we have, and not a man of them shall we take, shall taste our mercy. Go and tell them so. Enter Montjoy.
Here comes the herald of the French, my liege.
His eyes are humbler than they used to be.
How now? What means this, herald? Knowest thou not that I have fined these bones of mine for ransom? Comest thou again for ransom?
No,
great king, I come to the charitable license, that we may wander over this bloody field to book our dead and to bury them, to sort our nobles from our common men, for many of our princes, woe the while lie drowned and soaked in mercenary blood, so do our vulgar drench their peasant bloods in bloods of princes, and our wounded steeds from fetlock deep in gore with wild rage. Yerk out their armed heels, they armoured dasses, killing them twice. Give us leave, great king, to view the field in safety and dispose of our dead bodies.
I tell thee truly, herald, I know not if the day be ours or no, for yet many of yours horsemen peer and gallop over the field.
The day is yours.
Praised be God, and not our strength for it. What is this castle called that stands hard by?
They call it Agincourt.
Then call we this field of Agincourt, fought on the day of Crispianus.
Your grandfather, a famous memory, and it please your majesty, and your great uncle, Edward the Black Prince of Wales, as I have read in the chronicles, fought a most brave battle here in France.
They did, Llewellyn.
Your majesty says very true, if your majesties is remembered of it. The Welshmen did good service in a garden where leeks did grow, wearing leeks in their Monmouth caps, which your majesty know to this hour is an honourable badge of service. And I do believe your majesty takes no scorn to wear the leek upon St. Tavy's Day.
I wear it for a memorable honour, for I am Welsh, you know, good countrymen.
All the water and wine cannot wash your majesty's Welsh blood out of your body. I can tell you that. God bless it and preserve it, as long as it pleases his grace, and his majesty too.
Thanks, good my countrymen.
By Jesu, I am your majesty's countryman. I care not who know it. I will confess it to all the world. I need not be ashamed of your majesty. Praise be God, so long as your majesty is an honest man.
God keep me so. Our heralds, go with him. Bring me just notice of numbers dead on both parts. Enter Williams. Call yonder fellow hither.
Soldier, you must come to the king.
Soldier, why wearest thou that glove in thy cap?
And please your majesty, 'tis the gage of one that I should fight withal, if he be alive.
An Englishman?
And please your majesty, a rascal that swaggered with me last night, who, if alive and ever dare to challenge this glove, I have sworn to take him a box on the ear. If I can see my glove in his cap, which he swore, as he was a soldier, he would wear if alive, I will strike it out soundly.
What think you, Captain Fluellen? Is it fit this soldier keep this oath?
He is a craven and a villain else, and it please your majesty in my conscience.
It may be his enemy is a gentleman of great sort, quite from the answer of his degree.
Though he be good gentleman as the devil is, as Lucifer and Beelzebub himself, it is necessary, look your grace, that he keeps his vow and his oath. If he be perjured, see you now, his reputation is as an arrant villain and a jacksauce, as ever his black shoe trod upon God's ground and his earth. In my conscience, la.
That then keep thy vow, sirrah, when thou meetest the fellow.
So I will, my liege, as I live.
Who servest thou under?
Under Captain Gower, my liege.
Gower is a good captain, and is good knowledge and literature in the wars. Oh, sorry. Call him hither to me, soldier.
I will, my liege.
Here, Fluellen, wear thou this favor for me, and stick it in thy cap. When Alencron and myself were down together, I plucked this glove from his helm. If any man challenge this, he is a friend to Alencon, and an enemy to our person. If thou encounter any such, apprehend him, and thou dost me love.
Your grace doeth me as great honours as can be desired in the hearts of his subjects. I would fain see the man that has but 2 legs that shall find himself aggrieved at this glove. That is all. But I would fain see it once, and please God, if his grace that I might see.
Knowest thou Gower?
He is my dear friend, and please you.
Pray thee, go seek him and bring him to my tent.
I will fetch him.
My Lord of Warwick and my brother Gloucester, follow Fluellen closely at the heels. The glove which I have given him for a favor may aptly purchase him a box of the ear. In this soldier's I, by bargain, should wear it myself. Follow, good cousin Warwick. If that the soldier strike him, as I judge by his blunt bearing, he will keep his word. Some sudden mischief may arise of it, for I do know Fluellen valiant, and touched with the choler, hot as gunpowder, and quickly will return an injury. Follow and see there be no harm between them. Go you with me, uncle of Exeter. See natives, Glover and Williams.
I warrant it is to knight you, Captain.
God's will and his pleasure, Captain, I beseech you now, come apace to the king. There is more good towards you, peradventure, than is in your knowledge to dream of.
Sir, know you this glove?
Know the glove? I know the glove is the glove.
I know this, and thus I challenge it.
Splud! An arrant traitor as any in the universal world, or in France or in England.
You villain!
You think I'll be forsworn?
Stand away, Captain Gower. I will give treason his payment in the ploughs, I warrant you.
I am no traitor.
That's a lie in thy throat. I charge you in his majesty's name, apprehend him. He's a friend of Duke Alencon's.
How now? What's the matter?
My lord of Warwick, here is, praised be God for it, a most contagious treason come to light. Look you, as you shall desire in a summer's day. Here is your majesty.
How now? What's the matter?
My liege, here is a villain and a traitor. That look, your grace, has struck the glove which your majesty is take out of the helm of Alencon.
My liege, this was my glove. Here is the fellow of it, and he that I gave it to in charge promised to wear it in his cap. I promised to strike him if he did. If he did, I met this fellow with my glove in his cap, and have been as good as my word.
Your majesty here now, saving your majesty's manhood, but an arrant, rascally, beggarly, lousy knave this is. I hope your majesty is peer me, testimony and witness, and will avouchment that this is the glove of Alencon that your majesty has given me. You're conscious now?
Give me the glove, soldier. Look, here is this fellow of it. 'Twas I, indeed, that promised to strike, and thou hast given me most bitter terms.
And please your majesty, let his neck answer for it, if there is any martial law in the world.
How canst thou make me satisfaction?
All offenses, my lord, come from the heart. Never came any from mine that might offend your majesty.
It was ourself thou didst abuse.
Your majesty came not like yourself. You appeared to me but as a common man. Witness the night, your garments, your lowliness, and what your highness suffered under that shape. I beseech you, take it for your own fault and not mine. For had you been as I took you for, I made no offense. Therefore I beseech your highness, pardon me.
Here, Uncle Exeter, fill this glove with crowns, and give it to this fellow. Keep it, fellow, and wear it for an honor in thy cap, till I do challenge it. Give him the crowns, and captain, you must needs be friends with him.
By this day, in this light, the fellow has metal enough in his belly. Hold, there is 12 pence for you, and I pray you to serve God, and leave you out of brawls and troubles and quarrels and dissensions, and I warrant you it is better for you.
I will none of your money.
It is with a good will, I can tell you. It will serve you to mend your shoes. Come, wherefore should you be so bashful? Your shoes is not so good. 'Tis as good a shilling, I warrant you, or I will change it.
Enter an English herald. Now, herald, are the dead numbered?
Here is the number of the slaughtered French.
What prisoners of good sort are taken, uncle?
Charles, Duke of Orleans, nephew to the King. John, Duke of Bourbon, and Lord Boucicaut. Of other lords and barons, knights and squires, full 1,500, besides common men.
This note doth tell me of 10,000 French, that in the field of princes, in this number, and nobles bearing banners, there lie dead 126, added to these of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, 8,400, of the which 500 are but yesterday dubbed knights. So that in these 10,000 they have lost. There are but 1,600 mercenaries. The rest are princes, barons, lords, knights, squires, and gentlemen of blood and quality. The names of those their nobles that lie dead: Charles Delabreth, High Constable of France; Jacques Chatillon, Admiral of France; the Master of the Crossbows, Lord Ramorus; Great Master of France, the brave Sir Guichard Dauphin; John, Duke of Alencon; Anthony, Duke of Brabant; the brother of the Duke of Burgundy; and Edward, Duke of Bar, of lusty earls; Grand Prix and Roussy, Falconbridge and Foix, Bedmont and Marlau, Watermont and Lestrade. Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where is the number of English dead? Edward the Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Ketley, Davy Gam, Esquire. None of these men and all of other men, but 25. O God, thy arm was here, and not to us, but to thy arm alone. Scribe we all, when, without stratagem, but in plain shock and even play of battle, was ever known so great and little loss on one part of the other? Take it, God, for it is none but thine.
It's wonderful.
Come, go we in procession to the village, and be it death proclaimed through our host, to boast of this or take that praise from God, which is his only.
Is it not lawful and please your majesty to tell how many is killed?
Yes, Captain, but with this acknowledgement that God fought for us.
Yes, my conscience. He did us great good.
Do we all holy rites let there be sung, non nobi and deum, the death with charity, enclosed in clay. And then to Calais, and to England then, where ne'er from France arrived more happy men. They exit. Act 5, enter chorus.
Vouchsafe to those that have not read the story, that I may prompt them, and of such as have, I humbly pray them to admit the excuse of time, of numbers, and due course of things, which cannot in their huge and proper life be here presented. Now we hear the king, now we bear the king toward Calais, grant him there. There seen, heave him away upon your winged thoughts, athwart the sea, behold the English beach, pales in the flood with men, wives, and boys, whose shows and shouts and caps convoice the deep-mouthed sea, which like a mighty whiffler for the king seems to prepare his way. So let him land, and solemnly see him set on to London. So swift a pace hath thought that even now you may imagine him upon Blackheath, where that his lords desire him to have borne his bruised helmet and his bended sword before him through the city. He forbids it, being free from vainness and self-glorious pride. Give full trophy, signal, and ostent quite from himself to God. But now behold, in the quick forge and working house of thought, how London, how London doth pour out her citizens, the mayor and all his brethren in best sort, like to the senators of the antique Rome, with the plebeians swarming at their heels, go forth and fetch their conquering Caesar in as by a lower, but by loving likelihood, we're now the general of our gracious empress. As in good time we may, from Ireland coming, bring rebellion broached on his sword. How many would the peaceful city quit to welcome him? Much more, and much more cause did they, this Harry, now in London place him. As yet the lamentation of the French invites the King of England stay at home. The emperors coming on behalf of France, who order peace between them and omit all the occurrences whatever chanced till Harry's back return again to France. There must we bring him, and myself have played the interim by remembering you is past. Then brook abridgment, and your eyes advance, after your thoughts, straight back to France.
He exits. Scene 1, enter Llewellyn and Gower. Brandon?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
nay, that's right. But why wear you your look today? St. David's is past.
There is occasion causes why and wherefore in all things. I will tell you, say, my friend, Captain Gower, that rascally, scald beggarly, lousy, prating knave Pistol, which you said yourself, and all the world know to be no better than a fellow, look you now, of no merits. He is come to me and brings me bread and salt yesterday, look you, and bid me eat my leek. It was in place where I could not breed no contention with him, but I will be so bold as to wear it in my cap till I see him once again, and then I will tell him a little piece of my desires.
Enter Pistol.
Why, here he comes, swelling like a turkey cock.
'Tis no matter for his swelling nor his turkey cocks. God bless you, ancient Pistol, you scurfy, lousy knave. God bless you.
Art thou Bedlam? Dost thou thirst, base Trojan, to have me fold up Parca's fatal web? Hence, I am qualmish at the smell of leek.
I beseech you heartily, scurvy, lousy knave, at my desires, at my requests, at my petitions, to eat, look you, this leek. Because, look you, you do not love it, nor your affections, or your appetites, or your digestions don't agree with it. I would desire that you eat it.
Not for Codwallader and all his goats.
There is one for you. Will you be so good, scald knave, as eat it?
Base Trojan, thou shalt die.
You say very true, scald knave, when God's will is. I will desire you to live in the meantime, and eat your victuals. Come, there is sauce for it.
Ow!
You called me yesterday mountain squire, but I will make you today a squire of low degree. I pray you fall to, if you can mock a leek, you can eat a leek.
And you have astonished him.
I say, I will make him eat some part of my leek, or I will peat his pate for days. Bite, I pray you. It is good for your grain wound and your bloody coxcomb.
Must I bite?
Yes, certainly, and out of doubt and out of question too, and ambiguities.
By this leek I will most horribly revenge. I eat, I swear.
Eat, I pray you. You want some more sauce to your leek? There is not enough leek to swear by.
Quiet thy cudgel, thou dost see I eat.
Much good, you scored knave. Heartily. Nay, pray you throw none away. The skin is good for your broken coxcomb. You take occasions to see leeks hereafter. I pray you mock at them, that is all.
Good.
Aye, leeks is good. Hold you, there is a groat to heal your pate.
Me, a groat?
Yes, verily and in truth, you shall take it. Or I shall have another leek in my pocket which you shall eat.
I take thy groat in earnest of revenge.
If I owe you anything, I will pay you in cudgels. You shall be a woodmonger, and buy nothing of me but cudgels. God be with you, and keep you, and heal your pate.
All hell shall stir for this.
Will you mock at an ancient tradition? Begun sport his honorable respect and worn as a memorable trophy of predeceased valor, and dare not avouch in your deeds any of these words. I have seen you bleaking and galling at this gentleman twice or thrice. You thought because he could not speak English in the native tongue, he could not therefore handle an English cudgel. You find it otherwise, and henceforth let a Welsh correction teach you a good English condition. Very well.
Fortune played the huswife with me now? Have I that my doll is dead in the spittle of a malady of France? There my rendezvous is quite cut off. Old I do wax. From my weary limbs honor is cudgeled. Well, bawd I'll turn, and something lean to cut purse of quick hand. To England will I steal, and there I'll steal. Patches will I get unto these cudgeled scars, and swear I got them in the Gallia wars.
I've seen two. Enter at one door King Henry, Exeter, Bedford, Warwick, Westmoreland.
I got it. Okay. Westmoreland and okay. Peace to this meeting, wherefore we are met. Sleep at the switch. Unto our brother France, and to our sister, health and fair time of day, joy and good wishes to our most fair princely cousin, Catherine. And as a branch and member of this royalty, by whom this great assembly is contrived, we do salute you, Duke of Burgundy, and cousins French and peers. Health to you all.
Right joyous are we to behold your face, most worthy brother England, verily met. So are you, Princess England, every one.
So happy be the issue, brother England, of this day, good day, and of this gracious meeting, as we are all now glad to behold your eyes which hitherto have borne in them against the French that met them in their bent, the fatal balls of murdering Fascillets. The venom of such looks we fairly hope have lost their quality, and that this day shall change all griefs and quarrels into love.
Sorry. Lost my place.
It's King Henry.
I lost my place. 1 second. Sorry.
Line 21.
Yeah, I am scrolling down. Sorry. I have to scroll down. Sorry about this. So I just expanded the screen. 21. Got it. To cry amen to that, thus we appear.
Your English princes, all I do salute you.
My duty to you both on equal love, great kings of France and England, that I have labored with all my wits, my pains, and strong endeavors to bring your most imperial majesties unto this bar and royal interview. Your mightiness on both parts best can witness. Since then my office hath so far prevailed that face to face and royal eye to eye you have greeted. Let it not disgrace me if I demand before you this royal view, what rub or what impediment there is, or why that the naked poor and mangled peace, dear nurse of arts, plenties and joyful births, should not this best garden of the world, our fertile France, put up her lovely visage. Alas, she hath from France too long been chased, and all her husbandry doth lie on heaps, corrupting of in its own fertility. Her virtue, the merry cheerers of the heart, unpruned dies, her hedges ever clenched, like prisoners wildly overgrown with heart. Hair put forth discoursed twigs, the fallow leaves, the darnel hemlock, and rank fumitory doth root upon, whilst that the coulter rests, that should demarcant such savagery and even mead that erst brought sweetly forth the freckled cowslip, burnet, and green clover. Wanting the scythe with all uncorrected rank, conceives by elderless and nothing teams, but hateful decks, rough thistles, kicks, birds, losing both beauty and utility. And all our vineyards, fallows, meads, and hedges, defective in their natures, grow to wildness. Even so, our houses and ourselves and children have lost, or do not learn for want of time, have lost the sciences that should become our country, but grow like savages, as soldiers will, with nothing do but mediate as blood on blood to swearing and stern looks, diffused attire, everything that seems eternal or natural, which you are assembled. And my speech entreats that I may know the let why gentle should not expel these inconveniences and bless us with their former qualities.
If, Duke of Burgundy, you would the peace whose want gives growth to the imperfections which you have cited, you must buy that peace with full accord to all our just demands, whose tenors and particular effects you have, and scheduled briefly in your hands.
The king hath heard them, by the which as yet there is no answer made.
Well, then the peace which you before so urged lies in his answer. King of France.
Oh, what? King of France?
Yes, line 79. Really.
Page 80.
I have but with a cursory eye overglanced the articles. Please, your grace, to appoint some of your council presently to sit with us once more, with better heed, to resurvey them. We will suddenly pass our accept and peremptory answer.
Brother, we shall. Go, Uncle Exeter, and Brother Clarence, and you, Brother Gloucester, Warwick, and Huntington. Go with the king, and take with you free power to ratify, augment, or alter as your wisdom best shall see advantageable for our dignity, anything in or out of our demands, and will consign thereto. Will you, fair sister, go with the prince, or stay here with us?
Gracious brother, I will go with him. Haply a woman's voice may do some good, when articles too nicely urged be stood on.
Yet leave our cousin Catherine here with us. She is our capital demand, comprised within the forerank of our articles.
He hath good leave.
Catherine. Fair Catherine, and most fair, will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms such as will enter at a lady's ear and plead his love, suit for her gentle heart?
Your Majesty shall mock at me. I cannot speak your England.
Oh, fair Catherine, if you will love me soundly with your French heart, I will be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardon moi? I cannot tell what is like me.
An angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel.
Que dit-il? Que je suis semblable à les Andes?
Alice?
We, the men safe to your grace. In Stilly?
I said so, dear Catherine, and I must not blush to affirm it.
Oh, oh, bon Dieu, les longuestas de homens sont pleins de tromperies.
What says she, fair one? That the tongues of men are full of deceits?
We, that the tongues of demons be full of deceit. That is the princess.
The princess is the better English woman. Faith, Kate, my wooing is fit for thy understanding. I am glad thou canst speak no better English, for if thou couldst, thou wouldst find me such a plain king that thou wouldst think I had sold my farm to buy my crown. I know no ways to mince it in love, but directly to say, I love you. Then if you urge me farther than to say, to you in faith, I wear out my suit. Give me your answer. Faith do, and so clap hands and a bargain. How say you, lady?
So votre honor, me understand well.
Marry, if you would put me to verses or to dance for your sake, Kate, why you undid me. For the one I have neither words nor measure, and for the other I have no strength in measure, yet a reasonable measure of strength. If I could win a lady at leapfrog, or by vaulting into my saddle with my armor on my back, under the correction of bragging to be spoken, I should quickly leap into a wife. Or if I might buffet for my love, or bound my horse for her favors, I could lay on like a butcher and sit like a jackanapes, never off. But before God, Kate, I cannot look too greedily nor gasp out my eloquence, nor I have no cunning in protestation. Only downright oaths which I never use till urged, nor never break for urging. If thou canst love a fellow of this temper, Kate, whose face is not worth sunburning, that never looks in his glass for love of anything he sees there, let thine eye be thy cook. I speak to thee, plain soldier. If thou canst love me for this, take me. If not, to say to thee that I shall die is true. But for thy love, by the Lord, no, yet I love thee too. And while thou livest, Kate, dear Kate, take a fellow of plain and uncoined constancy, for he perforce must do thee right, because he hath not the gift to woo in other places. For these fellows of infinite tongue that can rhyme themselves into ladies' favors, they do always reason themselves out again. What a speaker is but a prater, a rhyme is but a ballad. A good leg will fall, a straight back will stoop, a black beard will turn white, a curled pate will grow bald, a fair face will wither, a full eye will wax hollow, but a good heart, Kate, is the sun and the moon. Or rather the sun and not the moon, for it shines bright. It never changes, but keeps its course truly. If thou would have such a one, take me. And take me, take a soldier, take a king. And what sayest thou then to my love? Speak, my fair, and fairly, I pray thee.
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, it is not possible you should love the enemy of France, Kate. But in loving me, you should love the friend of France. For I love France so well that I will not part with a village of it. I will have it all mine. And Kate, when France is mine, and I am yours, then yours is France, and you are mine.
I cannot tell what is that.
No, Kate. I will tell thee in French, which I am sure will hang upon my tongue like a new married wife about her husband's neck, hardly to be shook off. Je crois sur les possessions de France et crois voir avec les possessions de moi. Let me see, what then Saint Denis be by speed. Dos votre est France et voix en un temps mien. It is as easy for me, Kate, to conquer the kingdom as to speak so much more French. I shall never move thee in French, unless it be to laugh at me.
Sauf votre honneur, le français que vous parlez, il est meilleur que l'anglais lequel je parle.
No, faith, it is not, Kate, but thy speaking of thy tongue, of my tongue, and I thine, most truly falsely must needs be granted to be much at one. But, Kate, dost thou understand thus much English? Canst thou love me?
I cannot tell.
Can any of your neighbors tell, Kate? I'll ask them. Come, I know thou lovest me, and at night, when you come into your closet, you'll question this gentlewoman about me. And I know, Kate, you will to her dispraise those parts of me that you love with your heart. But good Kate, mock me mercifully, the rather gentle princess, because I love thee cruelly. If ever thou beest mine, Kate, as I have a saving faith within me, tells me thou shalt. I get thee with scrambling, and thou must therefore needs prove a good soldier breeder. Shall thou not, and I between Saint Denis and Saint George, compound a boy half French, half English, that shall go with Constantinople, to Constantinople, and take the Turk by the beard? Shall we not? What sayest thou, my fair flower de luce?
I do not know that.
No, 'tis hereafter to know, but now to promise. Do but now promise, Kate, you will endeavor for your French part of such a boy, and for my English moiety, take the word of a king and a bachelor. How answer you? La plus belle Catherine du monde, montrée chère et divine d'essai?
Your Majesty are the false French enough to deceive the most aged demoiselle that is in France.
Then fie upon my false French. By mine honor, in true English I love thee, Kate. By which honor I dare not swear thou lovest me, yet my blood begins to flatter me that thou dost, notwithstanding the poor and untempting effect of my visage. Now beshrew my father's ambition. He was thinking of civil wars when he got me. Therefore I was created with a stubborn outside, with an aspect of iron, that when I come to ladies, I fright them. But in faith, Kate, the elder I wax, the better I shall appear. My comfort is that old age, that ill layer up of beauty, can do no more spoil upon my face. Thou hast me, if thou hast me, at the worst, and thou shalt wear me. If thou wear me, better and better. And therefore, tell me, most fair Kate, will you have me? Put off thy maiden blushes, vouch the thoughts of your heart with the looks of an empress. Take me by the hand and say, Harry of England, I am thine, which word thou shalt no sooner bless mine ear withal, but I will tell thee aloud, England is thine, Ireland is thine, France is thine, and Henry Plantagenet is thine, who, though I speak it before his face, if he be not follow with the best king, thou shalt find find the best king of good fellows. Come, their answer in broken music, for thy voice is music, and thy English broken, therefore, Queen of all, Catherine, break thy mind to me in broken English. Wilt thou have me?
That is as it shall please the Roy Montpierre.
Nay, it will please him well, Kate, it shall please him, Kate.
Then it shall also content me.
Upon that, I kiss your hand and call you my queen.
Lasses, monseigneur, lasses. Ma foi, je ne vous point que vous abaissez votre grandeur, and by Saint-La main donner notre Seigneur, et indigne serviteur. Excusez-moi, je vous supplie, montrez pour son Seigneur.
Then I shall kiss your lips, Kate.
Les dames demoiselles pour être baissées devant les noces, il n'est pas la coutume de France.
Madam, my interpreter, what says she?
It is not be the fashion for the ladies of France. I cannot tell what is there in English.
To kiss.
Your Majesty, intrigue quo.
It is not a fashion for the maids in France. Is it not the fashion for the maids in France to kiss before they are married, would she say?
Oui, women.
Oh, Kate, nice customs curtsy to great kings. Dear Kate, you and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate, and the liberty that follows our places stops the mouth of all fine faults, as I will do yours, for upholding the nice fashion of your country in denying me a kiss, therefore patiently and yielding. You have witchcraft in your lips, Kate. There is more eloquence in a sugar touch of them than in the tongues of the French council. And they should sooner persuade Harry of England than a general petition of monarchs. Here comes your father. Burgundy.
God save your majesty. My royal cousin teach our princess English?
I would have her learn, my fair cousin, how perfectly I love her, and that is good English.
Is she not apt?
Our tongue is rough, cuz, and my condition is not smooth, so that, having neither the voice nor the heart of flattery about me, I cannot so conjure up the spirit of love in her that he will appear in his true likeness.
Pardon the frankness of my mirth. I must answer you for that. If you would conjure in her, you must make a circle. If conjure up love in her, in his true likeness, he must appear naked and blind. Can you blame her then, being a maid, yet rosed over with the virgin crimson of modesty, if she deny her appearance of naked behind blind boy in her naked seeming self? It were, my lord, a hard condition for a maid to consign to.
Yet they do wink and yield as love is blind and enforces.
They are then excused, my lord, when they are not what they do.
Then good, my lord, to teach your cousin to consent winking.
I will wink on her my consent, my lord, if you will teach her to know my meaning. For maids well served and warm kept are like flies at Bartholomew tide, blind though they have their eyes, and then they will endure handling, which before would not abide looking on.
This moral ties me over to time and a hot summer, and so I shall catch the fly, your cousin, in the latter end, and she must be blind too.
As love is, my lord, before it loves.
It is so, and you may, some of you, thank love for my blindness. You cannot see many a fair French city for one fair French maid that stands in my way.
Yes, my lord, you see them prospectively. The city's turned into a maid, for they are all girdled with maiden walls that war hath never entered.
Shall Kate be my wife?
So please you.
I am content, so the maiden cities you talk of may wait on her. So the maid that stood in the way of my wish shall show me the way to my will.
We have consented to all terms of reason.
Is it so, my lords of England?
The king hath granted every article, his daughter first, and in sequel all, according to their firm proposed natures.
Only he hath not yet subscribed this, where your majesty demands that the king of France, having any occasion to write for matters of grant, shall name your highness in this form, and with this edition in French. Notre très cher fils Henri, roi d'Angleterre, héritier de France, and thus in Latin, Re clarissimus filius noster Enricus, Re Angliae, et Hairis Franciae.
Nor this I have not, brother, so denied, but your request shall make me let it pass.
I pray you then, in love and dear alliance, let that one article rank with the rest, and thereupon give me your daughter.
Take her, fair son, and from her blood raise up issue to me, that the contending kingdoms of France and England, whose very shores but pale with envy of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred, and this dear conjunction plant neighborhood and Christian light accord in their sweet bosoms, that never war advanced his bleeding sword twixt England and fair France.
Amen.
Amen. Now welcome, Kate, and bear me witness all that here I kiss her as my sovereign queen. Queen of France?
So I have one more.
Brandon?
Queen?
Brandon? Okay, anybody? Want to?
I'll play it. Queen
uh,
of France?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. God, the best maker of all marriages, combine your hearts in one, your realms in one, as man and wife, being two, are one in love, so that be there betwixt your kingdoms such a spousal that never may ill office or fell jealousy, which troubles oft the bed of blessed marriage, thrust in between the paction of these kingdoms to make the divorce of their incorporate league, that English may as French Englishmen receive each other. God, speak this amen.
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 King, prepare we for our marriage, on which day my lord of Burgundy will take your oath, and all the peers of survey of our leagues. Then shall I swear to Kate, and you to me, and may our oaths well kept be prosperous be. Enter chorus, epilogue.
Thus far, with rough and all unable pen, our bending author hath pursued the story in little room confining mighty men, mangling by starts the full course of their glory. Small time, but in that small most greatly lived this Star of England, Fortune made his sword, by which the world best garden he achieved. And of it left his son, imperial lord, Henry the Sixth, infant bands crowned king of France and England. Did this king succeed, whose state so many had the managing, that they lost France and made his England bleed, which oft our stage hath shown. For their sake, your fair minds let this acceptance take.
Exits. Exeunt. End of play.
Bravo. Bravo.